go, fellas. It's another episode of Rose Tinted Reels. How cool is that? It's happening again.
I think that this is it's a miracle. And I would like us all to acknowledge the miracle that is today. But Zach.
Yeah.
We're not alone.
What are you talking about?
This
is my home.
There's something out there.
Uh-huh.
Creeping. Looking.
Are you writing a screenplay for... What is this? Is this a bit?
The Creeping Kid.
Is this a bit you're doing?
Perfect for our film,
The Creeping Kid.
But no, they were filming Tall, Angular, Veterinarian.
And that wasn't what he was suited for, was it?
Yeah, and his hand was not up a donkey's. Anyway, hi,
Poor Eddie Izzard. Oh my God, is that the person you're talking about that's entered my home?
I was just going to let you guys riff. It was fine. I was just going to sit here and go, I guess this is what they do. So
this is what we do.
Cool. I was just going to say, hey, well, thanks for having me. I'll just sit here and applaud.
Thank you, if you would.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh no, shit.
That was raucous cheering.
Yeah,
So
that's what we do.
I will say that no matter which one of those you played, it would have been applicable.
The laughter?
The laughter or the applause. You were being funny.
Oh, thank you.
But we were deserving applause.
Thanks for saying so.
I'm always deserving applause. Thank you very much.
So, this is Rose Tinted Reels.
Yeah.
I'm one of the hosts, Allyson Krause.
Show enough. I can't argue with that.
It's true.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
I know, isn't that odd?
I was just like, I was like, wait a minute, is this her nom de plume? I was like, wait.
No.
That's a real thing.
She's fucking married.
But to a person that gives you just a great name.
It's true. I could be your country music singer.
You could
Allyson
be
Krause.
my superhero.
Oh my God.
Had that not quite clicked?
No, now it did. Now I'm like, thanks for having me. I'm going to go back home now.
Gouge out my eyes and ears.
Do you know any of the Allyson Krause songs? Because I sure don't.
I just know the name. That's about all I've got.
That's as far as we got to.
Yeah.
So wait. After you got married and your name officially is shared with a very, very world famous country star?
World
Is it
famous,
folk country?
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Why not? Isn't she a country star? Do people in other countries listen to country?
I wonder, is there anybody out there listening from Slovakia? If you are and you know Allyson Krause, please let us know.
We do have a Swedish listener.
See, there. So Sweden, let us know if you know who Allyson Krause is.
Yeah.
And then rate us a 5-star rating because we're looking at you, Sweden.
Do the right thing. Leave us a 5-star review.
Just like Spike Lee, do the right thing, always.
Do the right thing. All right, so I don't have any personal news to share with anybody.
You haven't shared your name yet.
Haven't I?
No.
I was going to say, I have no idea who you are.
Well, you've entered my home and you don't even know who I am?
I do that a lot.
The audacity.
I do that
a lot of new friends.
Go street to street.
There's doors. I mean, this is a very tight-knit community. I just walk in and I'm like, hi, what's for dinner?
What a man.
Ooh, that
is a
good.
masculine attribute of a person. Just walking street to street, walking in people's homes. Hey, I'm joining you.
Yes, whether you like it or not.
No. You're going to enjoy it.
Spaghetti is going to be delicious.
Yeah. So
Does it always have to be spaghetti?
Yes, because if it's seafood, I run in the opposite direction.
Poor
They
fella.
can put seafood on spaghetti.
That's disgusting.
No, it's not. It's a beautiful thing.
No, is this the kind of podcast that I've signed up for? Because I think.
It's a pro seafood podcast.
Well, that's it. Thank you very much. And I'm taking one of your cats.
Stay. We need you.
We are 5 minutes in, and people don't know that I'm here with my normal co-host,
that's
Mr. Zachary Pumpkin.
But that's not my last name. You've gotten it wrong. Though for the season, it's appropriate.
That's why I did it. It was seasonally appropriateness.
Well, I like that, but people won't know. People are dumb. People are going to be like, that guy's name is actually Pumpkin. I'm not going to listen to this.
His name is Mr. Zachary Duncan, and we are joined here today by the legendary,
Thank you.
the one,
That's true.
the only,
Always.
Benji the cat.
Oh, God, you did a fake out.
I know.
You did a fake out. Everyone's confused.
No, we are here with my cousin and friend of Mr. Zachary Duncan, Mr. Christopher Bartlett, King of Halloween.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it, especially the title King of Halloween.
King of Halloween.
I'll take it. I always take it.
It's very true. You throw the best Halloween parties probably in the universe, but definitely on Earth.
Thank you. Thank you. There's visual proof of it. I've got photos everywhere.
Absolutely. Do you want to promote your Instagram or something that's got some fancy photos? You don't have to.
No, I guess my photos would be on my Facebook page. My Instagram is mostly just It's just images of my life, and so the party's in there a little bit.
Your life is a big party.
But if you go to my Facebook page, Christopher Bartlett Facebook page, that's where I've got the parties per year.
Okay.
I've got all the photos, and it started there with maybe 20 photos because this is back when I started it. We were still taking actual photos, and getting them developed, and then
I'm sorry. You're talking about something that actually requires physically development.
Yes, and then I had to put it on a scanner.
What era are you from? This is like the 1820s.
I was born
in a log cabin
in the Carter administration. That's right, kids. Do your math.
So for the kids who are listening, can you tell them who Carter is, because they might not know?
He was a peanut farmer.
A good one?
Peanut farmer president. The one before Reagan. Now, who was Reagan? Well, he was the one before Bush.
Ronald Reagan, the actor?
I suppose Dane Weinman. Yes. Ronald Reagan, the actor / president. But before them was Jimmy Carter, and he was president in the 70s. I was born in 78. That's right, folks. 78.
You're younger than the people in this movie, though.
This is true. This is true. All of them.
Each and every one of them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Actually, when did Haim die? Because he might actually.
2010.
But how old was he?
38, I think it said.
Oh, so yeah. So I am older than him.
Yep.
Well, on that morbid note.
So yeah, I don't have any. Does anybody have any personal news they'd like to share? Because this is the section for it.
Well, have you talked about your personal news?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen to our show, Chris.
Look, it's weird. I do another podcast, but I don't
promote your podcast. Promote your podcast.
Oh, okay. The podcast I do with my friend Mav, a longtime high school friend, and our also mutual friend from high school, Hank Price. That's his secret name because he doesn't want his name out there. But we do. I'm
sorry. This is an American not seeking fame.
Yes,
I'm really confused right now.
Well, he just likes to, because he likes to be able to go in there and just kind of
say whatever he wants without consequence.
But there's nothing vulgar about it, because all we do is we talk about movies. We kind of pick a movie and then we just talk about it. And the only problem that we have with that is that we do spend a lot of time just describing the movie.
Sure.
So it eats up our movie. But To Create Confusion, it's called, and it's out there or wherever your podcasts are sold.
I think that I've seen it on SoundCloud. Is it available on Apple Podcasts?
I can't remember. See, Mav does most of all of that. So I think he said he at one point we talked about it. I don't know if he got it on there. I know it's on SoundCloud, and I know that when he shares it on Facebook, it's on SoundCloud.
Okay, so if you want to find it, Google To Create Confusion.
To Create Confusion. We used to be Bondcast. That's how we got started. We were just going through and talking about all things James Bond.
I remember you talking about that.
A guy who apparently had Bondcast got real uppity about.
Oh my God, no! I know who that is. I think Matt Myra, and
I don't know. Mav talked to him, but he was just like, "Look, to create confusion or to not create confusion, can you change your name?" So Mav was just like, "Okay, dude, whatever." So we took from his email and we called it To Create Confusion, because apparently
that's a lovely story. I like that.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what it was. Well, we were Bondcast, and the guy came up and he was like, "I've been doing it for like 10 years," and I'm like,
"How many listeners do you got?"
Yeah, I think Mav looked and he was like, "We've got more than you, but whatever." So we were like, and because by that time we had already kind of morphed out of Bondcast.
So it made more sense to have an
fine,
evolution of name anyway.
So it's basically just spitballing. We spend most of the time, Hank and Mav talk about their kids, talk about their daily life, talk about sports, and then we talk about the movie.
I hear that.
And I just sit there and they talk about their kids, and I go, "I've got cats."
Those are kids too, man.
I know.
An army of cats.
I have an army of cats. Yes.
Yeah.
6.
All right. So does anyone have any more personal news to get through? Huh?
I mean, I will say I've just going to be working on. Can't really get into too many details, but I'm starting up a ghost hunting show with some friends.
Oh.
And we're going to be filming the first episode in middle of October.
Now, is this going to be with Marco?
Yes.
Is that what I heard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Marco and his girlfriend Hillary. So we're gonna be filming the first episode in a really cool place. I don't want to say too much about it just because
you don't want to blow up the spot.
Yeah, surprise.
Yeah.
But it's a
Ghost Facers.
No, so it's gonna. That's what I was gonna say. So it's gonna be more. They're gonna be lighthearted about it, but they're gonna be more about if they don't find anything, they don't find anything type thing. Where that like So it's going to be the exact opposite of Ghost Facer.
So they're not going to create the drama.
So
No, it's not going to be, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
So what's
That
the
seems dirty.
what's the general thrust of this show?
It's just because they're really in tune with the supernatural and they want to go into these places and just feel like the vibe of the place. I mean, they want to do, but they also, Marco's got a good humor side, so he also wants to make it a little lighthearted, so a little not jokey, but just not keep it so serious. Because if you watch Ghost Hunters, they're so serious sometimes, where you're just like, dude, stop taking yourself so seriously.
Is that the one with Frodo Baggins?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, there's two of them. There's the two main ones, and he's part of one of them. It's whichever one goes is at most of the conventions. I think that's the one you're talking about.
Maybe so. Probably. I think he's really big in the community.
I think that is Ghost Hunters.
Okay. So I don't watch any of those shows. I've seen them when other people are watching them.
Yeah.
And I used to be associated with someone who watched a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's the thing. Like, if you watch those things, they walk in and they're just like, it's like, we're very serious. They're ghosty. Did you hear that? But wait a minute. If we go into this room, did you feel that cold? And it's like, no, you probably didn't feel that. You're doing it for the camera.
Yeah.
What Marco and Hillary want to do is they want to go in and they just want to put you into that moment. Mm-hmm. They want to say, hey, maybe we did feel something. Maybe we didn't. But they're also going through way into talking to local historical societies and getting the history of the places. And really making that a part of the show. So you're getting a whole feel about it.
So I will say that a couple of Halloweens ago, we went to King's Dominion and Colonial Williamsburg. And while we were at Colonial Williamsburg, we did a ghost walk with Marco. And I will say that I appreciated his reverence for when he did feel something and kind of irreverence for when people were being annoying.
My favorite thing on those shows is when somebody's like, oh, did you hear that? And it's like, no, I didn't. In fact, there was no noise.
But if you want to talk about people who take things too seriously, it's the people that hunt Bigfoot. Oh my gosh, those are the...
But what I did know is that Marco actually just went on a couple Bigfoot groups.
Oh, really?
And just posted a photo and was like, yeah, check it out. I found him. And it was just a photo.
Where was this?
I think it was on Facebook.
No, I mean, where did he go?
No, he actually just took photos, I think, from one of his trips down to Blackwater Refuge, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he posted a photo, and there it was, water, tree line. And they're like, check it out. I found him. And it was just a photo. And he didn't say where it was.
Okay.
And everybody all of a sudden starts posting. Yeah, there he is. Oh my God, I see him right there, right in the middle. And Marco just starts playing into it, and that's what it was actually funny.
So did you guys decide that like it's this shrub everyone's talking about, or what were they thinking was Bigfoot?
It was just this it was just this part of the forest that just looked like maybe it was
it's a tree
doing
stump.
this, doing this.
You had a tree doing a sexy pose.
Yeah, and you're doing some tai chi in the forest.
Yeah.
That tree. Yeah, that one. No, but that's where things like the Ghost Hunters show, that's what they do.
Are you trying to imply that Sasquatch is just a druid?
Maybe.
I'm here for it. I like that theory.
I mean, I don't think he would let us know his presence. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. I think he's smarter than that. I think he has a really good PR department after all these years.
Mm-hmm. I think I have to agree with that.
I think so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Same with the Yeti.
And same with the Loch Ness Monster, or locally Chessie
and Nessie.
Yep.
So I've heard the tales of Chessie. Well, I haven't heard the tales of Chessie. I've heard that such a creature may exist.
Yes.
Can you tell any of the mythos behind it?
No, just the fact. It's literally the same stuff as you hear about Nessie. People have seen photos of something in the water, and here's a photo. It's a blurry photo from like 1962. And it's black and white, and it was just very blurry, and someone was like, it could have been an elephant, and people in Scotland were like, it's like, no, there's no elephants in Scotland,
just a Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, they were like why would there be an elephant just like breathing and walking through the water with its trunk out?
Yeah,
you don't know his business.
It's true, but
he was there for the haggis and decided to stay under the water.
Haggis is delicious.
I've never had haggis though.
It is fantastic.
I'm such a failure as a Scotsman.
If it's made correctly, it is delicious. It's like a cordon bleu, basically.
Do you make a haggis? Do you have a haggis recipe?
I do have it. I haven't made it in years because
Getting a sheep's stomach is a little hard.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like my dad had turned it into just the idea of the haggis, of how to prepare a haggis.
Right.
And so he would use different things. Like he would actually make his own kind of like, because it's basically ingredients inside of a sheep's stomach.
Yeah.
He would just kind of make his own pouch and then put the same kind of like, spices and barley and everything in there. So
calling it a pouch for some reason
it's
is weird to me.
It's just think of it like a sausage casing. But for me, when I went to Scotland and tried haggis, real haggis, my issue with it was the texture. Because once you get past the lining, it's almost kind of creamy.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big meat pudding person.
Okay.
Blood pudding.
So speaking of blood.
Well, we haven't gotten past the very first part of the thing.
Oh, no. I was just going to talk about our exciting giveaway.
Oh, well, this is cycling or maneuvering right into the podcast news section of the podcast.
Excuse me.
It was a maneuver. Fuck, bloody hell, look at these guys. Oh, they've got guns. They've got guns.
So back to Mr. Eddie Izzard.
Always.
Always.
All right, yeah, go ahead with our podcast news.
So we are doing a very special giveaway on our Facebook page. So if you go to our Facebook page, Facebook...
it's at Rose Tinted Reels.
Thank you. And once there, you'll see a post. If you like our page, comment and tag a person and be awesome. That is a requirement.
And like the post.
You will be entered into a drawing that we are doing. We are giving away a DVD or Blu-ray copy. Sometimes they're not available in Blu-ray yet. Of one of the films that we've reviewed on the podcast. And an autographed pair of 3D specs.
Very fancy. It's very fancy. Everyone is going to want one of these.
Yes.
Because they're so useful.
It's true.
3D specs?
Mm-hmm.
Old school stuff.
Old school. We're talking the paper?
Yeah.
Paper.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like red and blue on either side. Yeah.
I still have that free pair that came with that Nightmare on Elm Street box set.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because there's a segment in Freddy's Dead that's in 3D, so it came with a free pair of that. And I'm
okay.
Sweet.
So you've used them. They're not vintage or they're not mint anymore.
No, I actually, funny story about that is I've never used them. They're still in the little envelope. It just came in a little simple envelope.
Yeah.
What I did when I watched that DVD back in the day, I still had my original, still says Freddy's Dead written down the side. When I went and saw Freddy's Dead in the movie theater, and they gave you specific Freddy's Dead 3D glasses. So I used those because I was like, I'm going to keep those other ones. And they're not, it's nothing. There's nothing even on them. Yeah. So, but anyway, I wanted to use the original ones that I use in the movie theater. So
yeah. Well, that's very cool. Yeah.
I'm that old.
Your 3D specs made of paper old.
Yeah, I remember. This is true.
That's such a weird way to judge age.
Well, yeah. I always say that, people are like, man, John Carpenter's Halloween, man, that came out and said that's like over 40 years old. And I'm like, I was born that same year. So yes.
It was a good year.
And people just look at me and just go,
The King of Halloween was made that year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's right. That's
right.
And apparently, I've gotten this twice now in the past month. Apparently, I look like Zac Efron.
I can see that. You've got the same kind of jaw that he does.
Today was the second time. I was at the Taco Bell drive-thru. It's like, oh my God,
it's Zac Efron.
You look like Zac Efron. And I was like, have you ever heard that before? And I was like,
am I dancing?
Actually, I have heard that and that's twice in like the past month or two maybe. But
well, that's flattering.
So
I've gotten some weird ones in the past.
You've gotten Justin Timberlake.
Mm-hmm. I've gotten Justin Timberlake, which I'm not trying to flatter myself saying that I do look like him, but I think I look the most like him than the other people that people have suggested. Like someone said Orlando Bloom once, and I don't see that at all.
No, I don't see that. I see Timberlake, completely. But.
Yeah. Timberlake, and I've also gotten Daniel Radcliffe, which I can kind of see.
Well,
maybe that's the glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone at work used to call me Harry Potter all the time. It's like, I don't look like Harry Potter. I just have round glasses.
Yeah.
So I have one of those faces where people are like, you look familiar. I don't know where I know you, but no one's ever identified me as a specific celebrity.
Oh, I thought they were going to say, so how you been?
No, I get that sometimes too. The
How's
other
the
one I
family?
get is, oh, hi, Katie, which is my older sister's name. And I'm like, not Katie.
That's my name, not Katie.
Not Katie. Hang on, we got that.
But I have seen, nice. But I have seen photos where you and your sister do look alike. That there was one photo that I saw one time that I was like, I actually couldn't tell you apart. I don't know how old the photo was, but I just remember being like, Wow.
Was it Kaya who saw a picture of my sister and was like, that looks like Allyson. Why does she look so much like Allyson?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was one of her wedding pics or something like that.
Might have been it, yeah.
But I've never seen it. I've never thought I looked like my sister. And
family resemblances.
yeah, it's people who know her first say we look identical. People who know me first are like, yeah, I can see a resemblance.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, I can't see my own family resemblances, so.
Oh, really?
Nah, not at all.
I think I look like one of my brothers, and the other brother doesn't look anything like
Your
us.
younger brother?
Yeah.
You don't look anything like your younger brother.
They're both younger brothers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're both younger. So
All right,
I've got
the younger one that we went to Awesome Con with.
that was Robbie.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think you look anything like him.
Oh, you don't think so?
No.
So he looks like my mom, I think, and I think I look some percentage like my mom. So there's a little bit. But if you saw the other brother, he looks like his dad, which is my stepdad.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, very different thing. Anyway, so come on, this is podcast news. This isn't Zachary's genealogy hour. So,
It should be.
But now we know you're two brothers, and we know that you are of Scottish descent.
obviously,
now
of
they
course.
know all your passwords.
We know all your secrets.
So when is I'm about to reveal some of my Scottish shame, but when is our Independence Day?
Look.
I haven't seen Braveheart, our greatest documentary.
He also has not seen Highlander.
I haven't seen that either. Which is that another
Oh.
documentary for us Scots?
I have a very important
Yes,
thing
damn
to
it.
tell Chris above all people.
Yeah.
Guess who at this table has not seen Clue?
Well, it's not me. I've seen most of it.
Like, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. We just did a TikTok where we did the entire movie.
I know, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I
see?
saw it. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, and you know how long it took us to do that?
It looked like it took you a long time because it was like all mashed up in a
Well,
bunch of different like
well,
sped up clips.
Yeah, because we had to watch the entire movie and film us acting out the entire movie.
And it was
then
in sync
stopping
with
it.
the screen in the foreground, right?
Yeah.
It was a good video.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, so, but beside that, let's just put that aside and just
Look,
say,
I'm
complimenting.
I'm trying to compliment you enough so that you're not going to give me all
Oh,
this
I'm
grief.
co- oh,
He
you
does
know
this.
what?
He'll try to make you forget
I'm
what you're
coming
mad
right
about.
back.
Look, it was such a great clip. It was
I'm
how
coming
much
right
time you
back
spent
around.
on it. It was lovingly
I know,
created
it's like-
and edited.
It was like 4 hours, but I'm coming right back around to what have you been doing with your life
I
that
just
you have not watched.
We're going to have to save it for after
I've been
Halloween
watching-
season.
Yeah.
But
is that not considered a Halloweeny movie?
According
no.
to Kaya, it is. She said it
I
scared
feel
her
it-
to death.
Well, I
when
don't know
she
about
was
scared
younger.
to death, but
She
it
was.
seems
She was like,
Halloweeny.
it was frightening, and I'm like,
Oh.
how? I mean, there's some like like the dun 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 music at the beginning, and it's like. Burr, 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 burr. But yeah, it was like so. She said that. So I have heard one person say it's scary, but no, it does not count for
Halloween season.
Halloween.
All right,
viewing
fair
season.
enough.
Now, we maybe can do that during our. It's not so much whimsical because we're gonna during the holiday Christmas season we're gonna do our whimsy films. So maybe somewhere in between horror and whimsy,
You gotta
Clue
make sure
will fall.
You got to make sure you do planes, trains, and automobiles.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
It is one of two Thanksgiving movies. I challenge you to find any more. So there's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Thanksgiving. And you would say, but what about Thanksgiving 3, the sequel to 1? No.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a
one's-
thing.
I think
Yeah.
there's like Muppets in space involved.
It was
somehow.
ridiculous. We played it at one of your holiday parties.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Friendsgiving, that's what it was.
Friendsgiving. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch that with you guys because I was doing my kitchen hosting thing that I like to do, where I spend all my life in the kitchen.
No, it was fortunate.
Oh.
It's a terrible, terrible
I was
movie.
going to say, I can't imagine you missed much.
So the first movie is terrible, but in a lovable way. The second movie is like they're playing up to it, and they had a bigger budget, which doesn't suit that kind of movie.
No,
it was
never
it was
does.
really it was awful.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about 1987.
Before we do such things,
Oh, okay.
I never got to my podcast news. We kept going on tangents.
sorry. Go on.
So after the trivia section, I have a thing that I want to do with you guys.
Okay.
I'm going to quiz you
Uh-oh.
on the Lost Boys,
Okay.
Wow.
and whoever wins doesn't lose.
Can I be the first place loser?
Nope.
Out of all, I like second place because out of all the losers, you came in first.
That's right. Okay, so anyway, that's the end of my podcast news. So anyway, if you would like to find us on the social medias, you can on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Rose Tinted Reels and Reddit at r/Rose Tinted Reels. and we'll read the most interesting comments that we see there. And on Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a 5-star review, and we will read it here on the podcast.
Ooh.
No matter what it says, no matter how negative it may be toward my voice and my oral tics and how dumb I sound frequently, I will read it here with a stony face, and you will get the recognition that you deserve.
Even if you tell me to go back to the kitchen and be barefoot and bake.
I will say those words.
Yeah.
Because you gave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
If you know Allison's cooking, you know that that is actually a good idea.
That's a really good. You should definitely do that.
I'm just saying, I mean, I'm sorry you have to be like, barefoot 50s housewife doing that.
Oh yeah,
at the same time,
the barefoot part.
Yeah.
I'm actually more comfortable barefoot, so I'll be happy to be in the kitchen.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
If I'm barefoot, I'm going to stub my toe. That's all it means. That's why I don't like being barefoot.
Yeah, at least have socks on. Don't you want socks on?
No, they make you slip. I do not wear the shoes because they make me fall down.
Make me go a boom.
Have you seen the birdcage?
Yes, that's the one with Nathan Fillion, Lane.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Robin Williams.
I was like, man, you are not getting there, buddy.
And,
I got there though, didn't
and
I?
Hank
Not getting
Azaria.
there.
Was that?
And Hank Azaria.
Yeah.
And
Shirtless,
the mom
shirtless
from
Hank
Lost
Azaria.
Boys.
The choose.
The mom from
No,
Lost Boys.
lies.
Why would you lie
No,
to me?
did I lie?
I don't know.
What?
My brain.
I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Dionysus, she's in.
Yeah,
Birdcage,
she's Gene Hackman's wife.
Yes,
Close to
I was
Flockhart's.
right. Her hair
boys.
just confused me for a second. I confused myself based on a hairdo.
Aha.
That's okay. It happens. It's the 80s too. So
Oh, there you go. So let's go inside the reel in Act 2. So let's go to the events of 1987. Who'd like to start us off? Chris, do you have anything off the top of your head? What happened in 1987?
I was 9.
Yeah.
I was 9. For me, like some of the stuff that I think about 87, because we're in horror movie topics. You go through some of the horror movies that came out in 87. 87 was a banner year for some horror movies. I mean, you've got some little known ones, but some of my favorites: Prince of Darkness, John Carpenter, classic.
Oh, okay. I did. I wrote down a bunch of films that came out this year. I'm going to see how many you tick on here, but that I didn't have on the list.
So that's the one that Mark wanted you to watch.
Yeah,
Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, it's classic. It's classic Carpenter. It's really good. It's really good. He's
All right.
pretty much like a who's who of like other actors from John Carpenter's movies. I mean, it's like Donald Pleasance is in it, but then you've got a lot of guys who were like in Escape from New York, who were in like The Thing.
What about Kurt Russell? Is Kurt Russell in it?
No, Kurt Russell's not in it. It's Jameson Parker who is in it, who's from the TV show Simon and Simon. He was the lead. But
Donald Pleasance he's horror movie royalty.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. Like he had this in 87, and then in 88 he would come out with Halloween 4.
Did you know that Donald Pleasance was almost in Waxwork?
I did not know he was almost in Waxwork.
We did Waxwork on our last recording.
Yeah. So I still remember some of the trivia.
That's actually on the list for Kaya to watch. I've got it like saved because she's never seen that.
Well, if she'd like to know my recommendation, she can listen to the episode.
I was going to say. She's a podcaster, so she'll definitely enjoy listening to that.
Very good.
And it's on Prime right now.
Yeah. Well, that's actually where I saved it. But other movies like so what else came? Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
I love the Dream Warriors one.
That's fantastic.
And the song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I'm going to be speaking about the music later too, especially the Lost Boys soundtrack. But Hellraiser.
Yep, I had that.
Yeah. I mean, horror. The Gate.
I don't have that.
Came out. Yeah, like the
Never
Gate.
heard of that.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's up there with like Witchboard, Night of the Demons, where it's just it was definitely the
Night
ones.
of the Demons. Sorry.
It's like when you would search the VHS horror aisle in Blockbuster, or for me it was Movie King when it first moved in Easton.
For me, it was Potomac Video.
Yeah, that's the thing. You would find those, and you could get 5 for $5 or something, and you could rent these movies. And that's how I saw all these movies as a kid.
Yeah.
Because the first horror movie I think I saw in the theater wasn't this. It was the next year because Mom took me to see Halloween 4.
Okay.
Because I'd already seen the first one, and even at the age of 10. Like Halloween was one of my favorite movies.
Oh, so do you want to know the first horror movie that I saw in theaters was?
What's that?
And I ran screaming out of the theater. The Goofy movie.
It's a horror movie?
Scared me.
The scene where Max transforms into Goofy.
It was the scene, I can't remember it perfectly right now. It was a scene where it was like a dream sequence and like someone got really big and like started mutating and stuff like that and chased.
Max
was that
turning
what's
into
was
Goofy.
happening?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that scared the mess out of me.
Oh. And the last one I had was Evil Dead 2. I forgot about
Evil Dead 2. See, you had a bunch that I didn't have on my list. So what I had was Raising Arizona, Full Metal Jacket, Predator, Princess Bride, Good Morning Vietnam, Spaceballs, Hellraiser, which you got, Lethal Weapon, The Witches of Eastwick, Throw Mama from the Train, which is not a well-known movie apparently.
It's very funny.
And it used to be. It's one of those movies that it was everywhere when I was growing up throughout the 90s. Like it would always be on like it was like Channel 5 afternoon movie. I mean, everybody knew about Throw Mama from the Train. And then sometime, I don't know when it was, it just stopped.
It died?
It just stopped being popular. Because Planes, Trains, and Automobiles came out in 87 too, if I remember correctly.
Yep. That was the last one on my list.
Okay.
And then Wall Street, Dirty Dancing, RoboCop.
That's a very good year for cinema.
Yeah, there's a lot of good movies.
Yeah. Well, and I always say that the 80s cinema is probably some of the best cinema. When it comes to like memorable movies, and if you go into like into actual cinema, you know, you're now you're getting into like VistaVision, you're getting into John Ford, you're getting into Akira Kurosawa, you're getting into Hitchcock. But when it comes to the 80s, it's like every year throughout the mid 80s to like the latter part of the 80s.
Some kind of classic is born.
There's a classic there.
Yeah.
There's a classic there that our generation looks at and just goes, man, that's my movie.
Yeah. Although Jaws came out in the 70s, so
Yep.
Something's got to be said for the 70s.
The Jaws was the Jaws was the first blockbuster, summer movie blockbuster. So you wouldn't have the summer movie season without Jaws.
I know we did an episode on it, and my God, I was looking through the trivia for that movie just so I could jot some like the most interesting down. It went on for so. I seriously, what did I say when we did the podcast episode?
We had to cap it.
I sat there for like 2 hours reading through the list, and I didn't get to the end.
No, because I mean, and I think the greatest bit of trivia about Jaws is that what worked about the suspense, about not seeing the shark until the end, was not intended. Because the shark kept breaking down. Bruce the shark kept breaking down, and they had no choice. Spielberg had no choice but to not show the shark. And if that shark works, you don't have a classic movie because you see the shark too much and you don't care.
I agree with that. I think that was a good choice. But let me ask you this: I'm going to quiz you on Jaws now. Do you know why? Do you know why the shark broke?
This was something that is also covered in our Jaws episode.
Yeah, but here's a little sneak preview.
So no, I don't. I mean, other than the fact that it's just working in the industry, knowing how things, especially working with water, how it's difficult to be working in the water with effects.
So there was the legend was that they didn't test it in water before they started filming.
That makes, oh my God.
Yeah, but that's not actually the case. So they did test it in a big tank in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then, but it was a freshwater tank.
I was going to say it was salt water, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they took it out. They filmed off the coast of New Jersey, and it was salt water there, and the salt played havoc with all the mechanics and stuff like that.
Like the first time you put it in the water, as soon as you take it out for like the day and go to shoot the next day, it's already got calcium built up.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can look at your legs when you come out of the ocean, and you've just got white everywhere. Imagine all the.
Well, I mean, I'm super duper Scottish, so that's kind of a permanent state for me.
That's true. Like I'm one of those Scots that actually can tan.
I know. What is wrong with that? You seem like a genetic.
Say, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, you are a genetic mutant. You're Scottish and you've got great skin. It doesn't make any sense.
I've always said, because my family come from like, you know, we're way back, so we didn't get the Nordic influx as much because we were on the western coast near the Isle of Skye. So there wasn't as much, I guess, like Nordic influence on the gene pool.
So 1987.
Yeah. So 1987, it was the first year that the Simpsons cartoon short was shown on the Tracy Ullman Show in April.
It was also the year that Full House premiered on ABC.
Oh man, did you watch Full House? Were you a fan?
I was in the day, not as an adult, and I could not get into Fuller House. I tried.
See, I've never seen it, so I don't know what's objectionable about it now.
I just don't care.
Oh, okay. Just generally.
I think that's general consensus for some people. It's like, okay, Full House was great.
Yeah.
You know, it was a good chemistry at the time.
Wholesome.
Yeah, but now you're like, okay.
I can kind of see how annoying the people are now.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Uncle Joey, he's a comedian, but he's not funny.
Yeah. Hey, seriously, cut it out.
Although John Stamos, talk about a dreamboat.
You know, look, as I've always said, Greek don't creak. That man is a god.
What is it to creak?
To Creek. Well, it's just because like it's the old adage about how African American people age well.
Yeah, I got that part,
don't
but
crack. So I just came up with Greek don't creak.
I'm just wondering what if they were to creak, what would it look like?
I just think creek sounds like it could
maybe
be something.
Maybe
old
an
and
uncontrollable
decrepit.
bladder.
Like yes, creek.
Or gleek, like he doesn't accidentally spittle when he talks.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, we don't know that though.
It's true, we
So
don't.
He could be
Greek
as
people may
handsome
do
as
that.
he is, and
And
he could
very
just be,
spitty.
He might be spitting all over people.
My name is John Silver.
That's how he got his job. Everyone's like, "Stop talking to me." Fine, you got the part.
Yeah, you got it, John.
No more words.
Just water pouring out of his lips. The poor guy.
That reminds me of a Friends episode where Joey is playing opposite of Gary Oldman, and Gary Oldman is supposed to be this great actor. He's not playing himself; he's playing an actor, and all he does is like really severe spit talking. So like he puts extra emphasis, like Sylvester the cat, like on the S's and the P's and the T's.
Yeah.
And so as people are acting with him, they're just getting drenched.
Well, that sounds fun. Also, on this year, the great year of 1987, Square Enix released the first Final Fantasy video game for NES in Japan.
Fancy. Yeah. It was the groundbreaking legal case, the Baby M case, which concluded in that year, which actually gave validity to surrogate mothers.
What sort of invalidity did they have before?
So this was a case where the birth mother was trying to go back on her surrogacy deal with the parents and claim the baby.
And she had full authority to do that before this case, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. So it added more severity and a need for contracts for surrogate mothers.
Gotcha. Okay. And the last one that I have is that the entire year of 1987 was shortened by 1 second to adjust for the Gregorian calendar.
That sounds familiar. Like that's a bit of trivia that I heard at some point, or like it was a Jeopardy question.
Yeah, and it actually has to happen every now and then, still, just to adjust. That's why we have leap years, because we develop more time in a year than we should, and so we have to account for that by removing days occasionally.
Why not?
Yeah,
just why not?
And this was also the year that the Britain's Order of the Garter became open to women.
Oh, even all the way back in 87. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Progressive bunch, those fellas over there.
Well, yeah, I mean.
And ladies.
Ladies.
All right, so let's get on to the synopsis for the movie. Now, you, I hope, have the real synopsis, but I've written down two fake synopses.
Oh, you liked that?
I thought that was fun, yeah.
So we tried to do a bad description synopsis of this movie.
Well, it's like this Facebook game. So badly describe a movie to people.
Yep, that's where we got him from.
Nice.
So the actual movie synopsis is: after moving to a new town, two brothers discover that the area is a haven for vampires.
So what I wrote was, local business owner wants to extort lady to mother sexy undying teens.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That sounds like the Lifetime version of
It does, doesn't it?
Sounds painful.
It does, and it's almost as painful as this movie. Just kidding. We'll find out how I feel about the movie
I will
later.
storm out this window, or I'll jump out that window.
I won't reveal my hatred of it until later.
Wow.
My bad.
No, just kidding. I'm kidding.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Maybe I'm kidding. I don't know. I can't reveal that until later.
My bad synopsis is: what can go wrong if Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan never meet? No, you guys don't like it. I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
It's a good thing
sorry.
I don't have the headphones
No,
on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You couldn't have been emotionally affected by what I just did, so it's okay. No. I'm going to leave this.
You can hit it again.
Excuse me, I'm going to go cry.
Okay, so that's all I've got for that. So let's get into trivia, eh?
All right. I enjoy trivia.
All right, so the first bit of trivia that I have is maybe you know this already. Do you know that the theme of the movie was written for the movie?
Yes.
Okay, so it wasn't a song beforehand. I didn't know that. I mean, because I'd heard that song before, just around, I guess. Mm-hmm. But it was a nice song, and it was written for the movie, but without the artist having seen any of the movie. Mm-hmm. So he read like a draft of the script, not even the final draft, and he wrote the song. And the director loved it so much, he said that it was almost as if you had seen the movie in its entirety and written something just perfectly for it. He loved it.
Mm-hmm. Lou Gramm, right?
Yes. And he said that he didn't want the song to be specific about a vampire. He wanted it to be about the longing for family from a rejected youth's perspective, which I went through myself and which many of us have felt.
Still going through it.
Yep, me too.
Get you down.
So originally, The Lost Boys was supposed to have young boy vampires and been more tied into the Peter Pan lore. According to Mental Floss, Joel Schumacher was worried about the film turning into vampire Goonies and aged the vampires, which I think was a good choice.
He also is... I think this is so weird. He's quoted as saying, vampires are hot. They're the only erotic monsters. Frankenstein is not hot. And according to the makeup artist on the movie, he also said, I've hired these sexy young kids, and I want them to be sexy. I don't want them to be monsters.
That sounds like Joel Schumacher, the man the man who put nipples on the bat suit. Okay, that sounds exactly like Joel Schumacher.
I'd forgotten about those nipples.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of young, sexy vampires, did you know that Ben Stiller was up for the role of David?
I had heard that. Yeah.
That would make sense, yeah, because of he was on he was kind of like a young and up and coming comedian.
Yeah, he said in 2010 at the Hollywood Life Young Hollywood Awards, which I've never heard of that award before. He said, the last time I saw a room full of so many talented faces was when I auditioned for The Lost Boys. It was between me and Kiefer and the two Coreys.
That's crazy.
So the last bit of standard trivia that I have is that Max's vampire makeup at the end of the movie was actually modeled to be to look like the director, Joel Schumacher.
Interesting. Why
because
would you?
They had a spat. They had creative differences with each other.
Well, you mean Edward Herman, the actor?
No. The makeup artist.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So the makeup artist and the director had a lot of infighting about the design for the zombie or the vampires, because the makeup artist wanted to do like a real proper monster makeup for them, and Joel Schumacher, that's his name.
Yeah.
He wanted to make them sexy. He likes sexy kids. He wanted these kids to be sexy.
Nipples on the bat suit.
Nipples on the bat suit. So anyway, they had a lot of fighting about that. So anyway, as kind of retaliation, he made one of the vampires look like him.
That's hilarious.
Which, I mean, it's funny. Like, I don't really see it. What I do see is makeup that would definitely inspire the Buffy Angel Universe vampire. They look a lot like what you would come to see in I guess it was almost 10 years later.
I think Allison's Googling for us.
That is Joel Schumacher.
Was that him in the day, or is that him now? It looks older, so I'm guessing this is something from...
You're just basing that on the fact that his shirt is unbuttoned and billowing.
Well, and also his chest is freckly.
He looks like he's about to go to the Ren Fair.
His face is wizened.
That sounds like Joel Schumacher too. Yeah, that's probably like mid 2000s Joel Schumacher right there.
Okay, so that was post nipples.
Post nipples.
Yes, yeah, I think that was post nipples. Yeah.
So nipples must have happened. Was that a '90s movie?
Yeah, it was 90. That might have been like 97.
Oh, because that was late '90s. I didn't remember it being.
Well,
it
was Batman Forever. It was Tommy Lee Jones. It was Val Kilmer, and the second one came out. It was 89, 93. So that would have been like 96, maybe 95, 96 for Batman Forever.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie that I don't remember Val Kilmer being in it.
Yep, most people forget. Most people forget.
But you know what I will never forget is my collectible crystal cups from McDonald's that I got for Batman.
That's right. That's right. I have those in a box too. Yeah.
I've got collectible cups too, or at least I had. I probably lost them at some point, but it was for the animated series.
I also didn't realize that Joel Schumacher directed The Phantom of the Opera with Gerard Butler.
Yeah. I didn't know that either.
What is his thing about sexy people?
Sexy kids.
Yeah, like Gerard Butler, sexy Phantom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. Well, and but then he turns around and he directs, like A Time to Kill. He's like, I want sexy vampires, and then there's A Time to Kill.
Yeah,
you're just like, oh, okay, so you are a good director. And then he does nipples on the bat suit, and you're just like,
and then you're like, damn it, man,
pick a lane,
pick a lane, bro.
Oh boy.
So did you guys know that Santa Carla does not exist?
Yes, I did. And one of the synopsis for The Lost Boys that always bugged me was that it was a mother moves her sons to a Northern California town, and I'm like, no, they filmed in like Venice Beach.
Yeah,
like, that's not a Northern California
town.
They filmed
baby.
in Santa Cruz, and the Giant Dipper roller coaster that you can see in that opening sequence is the oldest and still in operation roller coaster in U.S. Built in 1924.
I like that trivia, and I like that they haven't changed it. I like that they haven't changed the look. It's staying with that kind of iconic silhouette. Mm-hmm. So that's all the trivia I have. The next thing I've got is the quiz. Do you have any more trivia?
One last thing. Mm-hmm. Joss Whedon was so inspired by the Lost Boys. That is where he got the idea for Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh.
And
wasn't
Spike.
Bombo Sutherland, wasn't he in the Vampire Slayer movie?
Donald Sutherland.
That's the
Yeah.
one.
Bombo.
I couldn't remember his name. That was as
Who
close
the
as I could
hell
get.
is named Bombo?
Well, a dwarf from The Hobbit.
No, I'm just
Bombo?
gonna blink at you.
Yeah. That's weird.
That's weird.
So,
That's just too weird.
All right, let's move on. We don't have to
I-
linger on the weirdness.
but I have one more thing about the thing I was saying.
Sorry, Bombo aside, go ahead.
So, that is also where Joss Whedon got the inspiration for Spike, who's supposed to be a cross between David the Vampire and Billy Idol.
That makes complete sense. I mean, that's what I was saying. I mean, that's the makeup. If you look at that style of vampire, you didn't really see it until Lost Boys, and then you started seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and
The
that's
crinkle
actually
face.
that's this is kind of a spoiler alert, but for the end of the movie or the end of the episode when we talk about what is it this done for cinema, was this the first sexy vampire movie?
No.
No, definitely not. Because that's like one of the things I was going to talk about, kind of the history of vampires. No, one of the first, I mean, you can even make an argument that Christopher Lee was this virile sexual in the horror of Dracula in 58. But I think one of the first one that always pops in my mind is Frank Langella's Dracula, based off of not just the book, but the stage play that turned Dracula into more of a sexual being. You barely see him fang out. He's just this flowing,
Just a
shirt's
sexy man.
open and the wind, his hair is blowing, and he's Frank Langella.
He just always has good wind. That's a vampire
always,
power.
Always. I mean, he has such good wind that even at the end of the movie, after he's burnt up and everything, and his cape flies, and it looks like he's like a bat flying away, but it's just his cape flying off. That's the end credits. It's just his cape flying through the air, and it's not a still frame. It's just his cape flying. He
Yeah.
has such good wind that his cape goes 10 miles away.
I like
So
that.
even when vampires were just part of literature before we even had them in a visual format, they were always written to be a very sexual entity. Vampire biting you was very much a euphemism for
Right.
something. Biting, bodily fluids, they're always sexy.
So, okay. So let me change the parameters of my question then.
Go on.
Was it the first sexy teenage vampire?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you could go back in the 80s. You've got sexy vampire. You've got The Hunger, sexy vampire. You can say
don't know that
Vamp
one.
with Hunger was David Bowie.
I haven't
Oh,
seen. I don't
Once
think I've
Bitten.
seen a David Bowie movie.
Once bitten.
Once Bitten, yeah. Vamp with Grace Jones, very sexualized vampire.
Grace Jones. Oh gosh.
Fright Night,
So-
you've got Chris Sarandon, but you don't really have a teen sexy
Yeah,
vampire.
he wasn't a
Yeah.
teenager in that movie. He was
Ed,
the, he was-
Evil was the vampire
And he's
teen,
not-
and
yeah.
he is not.
No, he's not sexy.
No.
The master will destroy you for this.
And the Once Bitten had a whole pack of teen vampires, but the whole premise of that is that they were once virgins before turning.
Yeah.
oh, so they were a bunch of lamos, not sexy.
Well, no, they were afterwards. They could do whatever they wanted with their bodies forever.
Yeah, but they were memorialized in the state of being a virgin.
Well,
Forever.
Forever.
Forever and ever.
forever, ever.
I didn't. What's that? What happened just there?
Outcast. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Outcast, the band.
Correct.
Okay. I guess I don't know that song.
It's because you're a baby.
I've heard Outcast before.
Yeah. But have you ever seen the Key and Peele skit where Outcast members?
You like to get a lot of mileage out of that. You're 5 years older than me. You're a baby.
Get a wee tyke. I will go back real quick because I think
Rewind?
Have you finished? No. Have you? Anyway, about the Goonies line, I read somewhere that Fred Decker, director of Monster Squad, that came out this year too. Somebody had asked him about that because as soon as you said it, or one of you said it, I can't remember who said it, that he didn't want to do a
that was
vampire
me,
Goonies. Yeah, it was Fred. Someone asked him that at a convention, and he was just like, he was like, damn straight, don't do a vampire Goonies. I already did a vampire Goonies movie, and it was true because that's what Monster Squad was. It was basically like Goonies with monsters.
So I told Zach that we will need to do Monster Squad and Monster Club.
Yeah.
Haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Haven't seen him.
Monster Squad, I know far more because I watch that every year. I haven't
Would
seen
you
Monster
say
Squad.
that's a classic and necessity for me to see?
Wolfman's got nards.
Yeah, Wolfman's got nards. Have you ever been or dorked?
Was it, what kind? What?
You won't know until you see the movie.
Oh, okay. Do you have any more trivia?
No.
All right.
Trivia it out.
Quiz time.
All right.
All right. Prepare your brains.
Home.
All right. So,
I need a shot of scotch.
first question.
Have some tea.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Loosen up. Shake it out a little bit. First question.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture.
How long did the movie take to film?
I'm going to, knowing, having worked on films and TV shows before, it really depends on if I knew if there was like studio trouble. Like it was like, but I'm going to say that it wasn't. I'm going to say that this was a streamlined production. I'm going to say it took 3 weeks.
Allyson?
See, I was going to way broadcast it out, and I thought maybe 6 months.
All right. So we've got your final answer. 6 months and 3 weeks?
Yep.
You're dead on. It was 3 weeks.
Oh, damn. See, I don't know as much about production.
I also thought I remember hearing something about that, like something like that clicked in my brain. Like, man, I think this was like one of those streamlined ones.
Yeah.
But, because I don't remember ever hearing like a negative thing about the production of it. That's why I was surprised about the fighting between the makeup artists.
Oh, yeah. So that was the first question. Chris has 1 point. Allyson, zip.
I was 2 years old at the time. What do you want? And in Germany.
Should have been watching it.
They had movies in Germany, surely.
Well, they're a little delayed. That's why they were so into the Hoff for so long. They're just a little delayed.
Look, Do is a masterpiece.
All right. Question number 2. The movie was filmed in Santa Cruz. What significance does that name have to the movie's subject matter?
That's a weird question.
It is.
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz.
Which, as
Spanish.
we all know, is Spanish for a whale's vagina. No, that's Santa Barbara.
No, it's Santiago.
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 Sorry.
Sorry. I mean, the fact that they use Santa Carla, I don't know.
I don't know anything about Santa Cruz.
Because Joel Schumacher worked with Tom Cruise in The Firm.
I'll give you a hint. Because this one is, you have to either know Spanish or have heard this trivia before. So it really matters what the Spanish translation is.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I didn't take I took French. That's where all the cute girls were.
Merde. I do not do Spanish well.
Okay.
I try, but I'm...
So it's Santa, isn't it? Saint, right?
Yeah.
But I
and
don't know
then
what
Cruz.
Just, I always thought Cruz was a last
Well,
name.
Santa doesn't necessarily mean saint.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
So I don't know about Spanish grammar. I guess maybe sometimes it does. But I'll just tell you. So Santa Cruz in Spanish means Holy Cross,
Oh,
which is obviously the kryptonite to vampires, which is just an interesting choice of place to film for the vampire movie.
okay. That's actually cool. I didn't know that. But then they changed to Santa Carla.
I know.
So it means nothing after that.
Well, this is disappointing. I put it in the new Google Apple Translate.
And it just comes out with the same name.
What did it say?
Santa Cruz means Santa,
Santa
Cruz.
Cruz.
It sure does.
Didn't you mean the town, you fool?
All right. Question number 3.
Tres, trois.
Who were the Frog Brothers named for?
I'm trying to remember their names now. I think I'm blanking completely.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Yep, that's correct.
Nice.
All right. So 1 point Allyson, 1 point Chris.
Nice.
Question 4.
Four.
How many times is the name Michael said in the movie?
Oh my.
I've never counted.
I'll tell you what, I rewatched with that piece of trivia in my head, and I couldn't stop paying attention every time someone said his name.
They're only noodles, Michael.
I'm going to say 300.
Michael. Michael,
Come on, Michael.
Speaking of Marco, he can do a pretty dead-on David impersonation. It's scary. Now, is this Price is Right rules? That if we're, are we closest without going over?
Yes.
Price is Right rules. Closest without going over. All right, cool.
$1.
I'm going to say 1. Yeah, no. I'm going to say 25.
Okay, got a 25.
Oh, I jokingly said 300.
Well, what's your real answer?
I'll say 100.
100? Mm-hmm. Allison's got it. Well, she's the closest.
Without going over.
Without going over. So the real answer is the characters in this movie say the name Michael approximately 118 times.
Good night.
That's like Scarface dropping the F word.
I know.
Sorry, I can't think of Scarface without thinking of the John Mulaney skit where he talks about how people will say, I like The Godfather and Scarface. That's like saying I like lobster and Skittles. Those things are equal in my estimation.
Look, John Mulaney, you can go to hell.
I haven't seen all of Scarface.
Oh my God! So I made Kaya watch Scarface a few months ago, and then after that, I just kept screaming at her like randomly. Like if we were out in the public, I would say, "Chichi, get the yayo," and she's like, "Can you stop?" And I'm like, "Chichi, get the yayo."
So I only recently saw Godfather for the first time. So I haven't seen 2 or 3. I've only seen 1.
You don't need to see 3.
Everyone says that. I need to see
Did you hear they're recutting it though?
I
read somewhere they're going to recut it. Yeah, which is weird, but I enjoy Scarface more.
Oh yeah,
it's weird. I'm not one of those. I sit at the.
You're
throne.
in the minority.
Yeah, like I sit at the throne of Godfather and Godfather. I like them.
So do you not recognize it as like cinematic genius?
No. I see it for what it is. Like I can say yes, like what it did for cinema. And the storytelling, and it's just rich with the acting, the production design, everything.
Are you
it's
about
gorgeous.
to tell us that it insists upon itself?
Are you about to go the same route as 2001?
I'm going to Peter Griffin it.
It insists upon itself.
No, because it's one of those ones where it's.
You think it was self-aware of how good it knew it was?
No. What it does, it's one of my big things about filmmaking is it's like
don't be Scorsese smug.
No, there's that. But, you get in late and you get out early. And I think about The Godfather, it's like it doesn't get in it takes its time. It takes its snail pace. And I think this is my problem with Quentin Tarantino is like there's no editor. Like there's no editor.
Well, now we're throwing down.
Yeah, because he needs an editor.
I'm
because
in between a fight.
He doesn't he doesn't understand the simple part of you don't put everything you film on the screen. Okay. You don't people don't want to see a 3-hour movie when you can clearly see, man, you could have cut that scene out and it wouldn't have mattered.
Although, and I respect you thinking that, honestly, I do. I disagree, but I other people have their own things. What I will say in his defense is that he's an auteur and he's making a different type of movie than I know that's so pretentious.
Who steals everything? Like basically,
everyone steals.
Kill Bill is like Lady Snowblood, and it's
everybody steals, but he steals from the artsy people, and he makes an artsy type of film.
What's the difference between stealing and an homage?
Well, it's fine to do an homage, but then when you say you're doing an homage and you're just stealing. That's when that's when you see, because you can say, oh dude, yeah, totally, I ripped that totally off of whatever, like I ripped that off of Tron. Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah.
But when you say no, it's an homage to Tron, and it's a guy on a light cycle driving around, you're just like, bitch,
that's his fan fiction,
and you're trying to tell me that it's an homage.
Right.
Like, don't even try. And I think that's what Tarantino does.
I think there's a fine line. I think you're right. I mean, if there was a case of someone making a Tron movie and calling it something else, and I haven't seen this other movie you're talking about, so maybe Kill Bill is more of a ripoff than I know.
You haven't seen Kill Bill?
No, I've seen Kill Bill. I haven't seen the other one he's talking about.
Lady Snowblood. Okay, yeah.
Which is actually on HBO Max.
And it's very good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So maybe I just don't have the right perspective.
But also, like in that vein, The Mandalorian is basically Lone Wolf and Cub. Which is
but that's kind of my point. But you can make he makes spaghetti westerns. So is he ripping off spaghetti westerns? Is he homaging them? Or everyone steals from everybody? I mean, if you make a romantic comedy, you're stealing from all the other romantic comedies.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
so
thing.
my point is he's
Everything's
stealing from more artistic people. He's not stealing from other romantic comedies. He's stealing from super, highbrow or lowbrow, but I mean, just artsy in some way.
Some form of brow.
Yeah,
it's a brow. So anyway, I defend him for that reason, just because he has the balls to make that type of movie still, where nobody else is. Everyone else is making the cash in, either a super low budget movie or a super high budget like blockbuster movie. He's still making the medium budget artsy kind of movies.
We'll save this for another time I'm on. We're going to do a Tarantino one. I'm going to come back.
All right, fair enough.
And I'm going to bring my friend Joe. Because
is he going to back you up, or is he going to back you up?
He is.
Oh, well, I got to bring a friend.
We'll be on set and we'll just like all of a sudden start talking. Somebody will come up, some random like background actor or something, and we'll start talking about, dude, Tarantino. And he's like, look, bro. And he just goes on. Meanwhile, we need to get work done. We need to get, stuff needs to get done. And Joe's just like, and let me tell you about Reservoir Dogs and how it sucks. And you're just like, what, Joe? We got to go. It's like 10 o'clock at night. But it's hilarious. Like I can actually say that. I can, I'll hear somebody say something about Tarantino and I'll just go, wait, hold on for a second. Hey, Joe, this guy says he loves Tarantino and he's just like, what? And he walks over and it's just like, here, sick 'em, boy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am open to being educated. I'll say it that way. Cool. But I have at least my defense. Even
that's fine. I mean, most people do, and that's the thing. Like most people have a defense with Tarantino.
But even if he's stealing and all these other philosophical problems you could have with him, his movies entertain me, and I think that's the primary objective of a movie. And I feel entertained when I see his movies. That's my second.
You have the right to be wrong. It's fine.
Fair enough.
So wait a minute though, Chris. What do you feel about Kubrick? Because this is the
see. This is good. I'm going to come to the same defense.
Okay.
So
okay. So final question in my quiz.
Oh yeah. Quiz.
So this one's for all the marbles. Question 5. What year is the grandfather's car?
Oh wow.
I don't know. I don't know cars.
God, that's man.
And I'll even give you a point if you can tell me what type of car it was, the make, the model, anything.
God, I'd say I don't know, but I mean, it's such an old car. I would say it's like it's a Ford or an Edsel.
All right, you've got Ford.
Okay, I was gonna say, I mean, because it's that old, and I would maybe I want to say it's like 1920.
Okay. Do you have a guess on? Do you have a guess on the year?
I don't know cars very well. I wouldn't. I knew it was old, but I was thinking more like a 40s or 50s because I think it was mint.
If you had to pick a decade, which would you go for?
50s.
All right. It was a 1957 Ford Fairlane 500 Skyliner with retractable hardtop roof.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot about that. I was thinking of the that truck he had.
Oh, like the dune buggy type thing.
I totally blinked. I totally blanked and forgot all about that.
That's okay.
Right.
All right.
It could never be confused with a Buick Skylark.
God, I know that line. What's that from?
My Cousin Vinny.
My Cousin Vinny. It has to have been, yeah. All right, so Act 3, movie analysis. Mm-hmm. So, Allyson, do you remember what your nostalgia rating was for this?
7 out of 10.
A 7 out of 10. All right. And what would you predict my real rating would be?
So I predicted that you were going to give it a 5 out of 10. However,
you can't change it.
No. I'm not changing it.
All right.
Stipulation of the 5.
10 out of 10 for Nanook the dog, who, real world, the dog's name was Cody.
He was a sweet looking dog, I have to say. Yeah.
So that's all. I was saying 10 out of 10 for Nanook.
Okay.
5 out of 10 for the movie.
I can definitely agree with the rating for Nanook. All right, so Chris, what would you think? Rating out of 10, what do you think I would give this movie? Critically.
I don't know. Your taste in movies is kind of garbage tonight, so I don't know.
I can't get my attention.
No, I would say I don't know. I really think you. I really think you would see the charm in this. So I'm kind of leaning towards like a 7 out of 10.
All right, so you predict a 7 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Allyson predicts a 5 out of 10. We'll see who's closer to being
just
right.
Because he tends to rate things on a scale where 10 has to be the world's perfect movie, not just campy horror.
Not perfect, but like I can't.
It's hard. I mean, it's really hard to get a 10. I mean, because like I've done ratings before where you're like, all right, cool. It's like, all right, I've made this movie 10. It's like me. It's like Wrath of Khan. I've made it a 10 because it's just like my favorite movie.
Well, yeah, exactly. So like, that's like your heart rating.
Yeah.
And so a 10 out of 10 for my critical rating would be not necessarily a perfect movie, but just I can't imagine a better movie. So it may have mistakes, but I can't imagine something better than that.
See, I can't imagine anything better than how Wrath of Khan came out.
Well, there you go. I haven't seen all of Wrath of Khan.
My God.
I've seen the end. Khan!
We all know that iconic
But
Conning.
I also haven't seen all of original series. I am watching it now for the first time. So
I will say when you get to it, Star Trek 2, 3, and 4 is actually one of the best sci-fi trilogies of all time. It actually is. It's fantastic. It begins in 2 and it ends in 4. And even though there's a motion picture and then there's Star Trek 5 after that, if you look at those 3 movies as a trilogy, they're fantastic.
Which one is the one with the space whale?
That's 4.
4? Okay.
Well, no, it's the space probe looking for whales on Earth. Humpback whales. Humpback people? Whales, Mr. Scott. Whales.
I can't wait for that line.
Hello, computer.
That's the line I know.
Yeah, because he talks. Just use the keyboard. Oh, a keyboard. How quaint.
Okay, so let's get into the timestamp. So what's the first timestamp that you have?
So I just wanted to talk about the perfect hair that we get to see on each of them. All of their hair.
So
coiffed.
An interesting tidbit about the reveal here on the merry-go-round. Mm-hmm. The order that you see them introduced here is the order that they die.
In reverse?
Reverse, yeah.
Yeah, because Alex Winter dies first.
Yeah.
Well, this is a tidbit that I read on the internet.
It had to have been reversed.
So maybe it's reversed.
It has to be, yeah. Because
I don't think it said reversed, but yeah. So that's what it said.
Well, that makes sense.
Maybe like we're turned. That's what they mean by die.
No, it says that's the order that they're murdered at the end.
No, yeah, he was first.
Yeah, he dies first.
So is he the last one seen?
Yeah.
David's the
okay,
last.
so maybe it is reversed.
David's the first one walking, and then each of them walking up behind.
No, because it was David, then bathtub, then death by stereo, then David.
Death by stereo.
So it's no, wherever you got that fact wrong.
So the death by stereo, I also read that took days to film.
Miss Sucker.
For some
Days
reason?
out of their 3
3
weeks.
weeks.
No,
Yeah,
3 weeks.
yeah.
Well, no, I mean, sometimes that's the acting aside, you can get a lot of stuff done if everybody's like churning, and we can get through pages and pages of script. You can get that done in like a good 12-hour day.
Yeah.
But special effects stuff to get it just right, like that can take take a long time.
And there's also a lot of this movie that's scenery.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, and it's not like huge. Like this shot right here. Yeah, you've got they're at the carnival. There's tons of background actors. That's why scenes like most of this movie takes place. It's just the main people. It's the family in the house. It's the family in the cave.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to have so much production. You can get scenes done
Right.
without big crowd shots, not big sweeping shots where it's like we got to do an entire cityscape and we got to set up this car chase and everything.
Yeah.
That's why movies like this can get filmed so quickly because it's just a tight knit
Exposition.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can just get rid of all of it.
It's almost like filming a TV show. You just have your couple of sets, and you have to film all the scenes that are happening on this set, and then go to the next one and do that.
I mean, most likely they filmed all the pier scenes probably in a couple nights at either somewhere in the production schedule of the 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It was like day 10, 11, 12. It's like we're doing all the pier scenes. We're
Right.
gonna do them all there, and then everything else is just all straight up like maybe 10 actors on set at that time. I will say, just going to the hair right there, this is a main reason, just going before you get to this next one, this is the main reason this movie could never work again.
Just because of the hairstyles?
Well, it was the hairstyle because this was 1987. This is the height of the LA glam rock scene. We're talking bands like Poison. Even Guns N' Roses started off and they had Aquanet all on their hair. LA Guns, Firehouse. So this was the height of that glam rock metal scene.
Yeah.
Like you can't have these vampires are not going to look like this if they were to remake Lost Boys.
See, that's such a shame.
Yeah, I mean, like that's why, and the big thing about this too is like for me, Lost Boys isn't just the Peter Pan reference. Mm-hmm. It's also the Lost Boys and Girls. At this time, there were so many people, so many boys and girls. Well, I guess who were just going out to Hollywood. They were going to become musicians. They were going to become actors, and they were literally eaten up by LA, by Southern LA.
Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about the Lost Boys. To me, like I've always looked at it as it's not just the Peter Pan reference, it's the fact that these are the lost souls that ended up just being eaten by the machine. In this, they were eaten by vampires.
Right.
But in general, so that's
The vampires.
Oh, see, that's an interesting perspective. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what I've always thought about this movie. And that time period especially, there were so many people that were just. It was even more so in the 80s because the 80s was everything about glamour and glitz, and it was just pulling more and more people to LA, and they were just getting more and more just in the meat grinder.
All right, so the next one I've got is... All right, so this is the time where we discover that Santa Carla is the murder capital of the world, which is based on Santa Cruz. So I was really curious, was Santa Cruz actually the murder capital of the world in some sense?
I mean, at one point, the murder capital of the world was Trenton, New Jersey. And that was like early 90s, so I don't know.
And at some point it was Baltimore.
Yeah,
it's always Baltimore.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
But I did look up something about it, and it said that in Santa Cruz, there were 3 serial killers in the 1970s, and they killed 28 people in 30 months.
Oof.
That's enough to kind of bump you up to be the murder capital of the world.
Yeah, and it's at least famous enough. Like people are being, murdered by serial killers. It's not just your average
Shootings,
robbery, random
gone,
things.
Gone awry, yeah.
Different people. It was 3. It was only 3 people responsible for 28 killings. Anyway, did you watch the Psych the musical?
I haven't yet.
Okay, there's a reference to the murder capital of the world.
Oh, there is. Okay.
There.
Yeah. No, I haven't because I decided I'm gonna have to do that rewatch after Halloween season, so I can finally because I haven't even watched like the new movie yet. But I did see a really great interview with Timothy Olmanson.
Oh yeah,
it was after as the Psych sequel was coming out, and just it's him as he is like still recovering. It was probably one of the best. Like it was actually him and Larry King.
Yeah, I saw that one.
It was so good.
Yeah,
it was
excellent.
it was a fan. Like I watched it at the gym while I was on the treadmill.
So inspiring.
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, he couldn't move, he couldn't speak. He had to relearn how to speak.
Yep.
Oh wow.
I mean, insane. And he was speaking in the movie. He was laid out for most of the movie.
Yeah.
But I think at the end, you haven't seen the second movie yet.
Yeah.
And I think by the end of it, they had a scene where he walked down the hall.
Yeah.
I mean,
but see, that's the thing. When they filmed it, he was still early in his recovery.
Yeah.
Now he was saying. I mean, now it's better.
Yeah.
It's getting better every day. But yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
I will say that Tim Curry, to see him right now, it's very sad because he never was able to regain a lot of his facial and
Same thing though.
yeah.
He had a stroke, right?
yeah, correct.
Yeah. Well, Timothy Olmanson talks about it how he was lucky because of who was there.
Yeah.
There was someone that was right there that was able to help him. I forget what because he basically said he was lucky that that person was there. If that person wasn't there, he probably would have died.
Yeah.
So maybe in like Tim Curry's case, like time went
He wasn't
by
so
too
lucky.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing actually happened with Richard Dawkins, but he didn't suffer like any consequences.
Jeez.
Yeah, he had a stroke and he was, in the hospital for a while, but he can walk and speak and he didn't have to relearn to do anything. He didn't need therapy.
There's a guy I knew who worked in the industry. He's in like catering, did the same thing, and the only reason he survived today is because he was on a ski slope,
Oh.
and there just happened to be a cardiac surgeon
Wow.
right next to him. He goes
man.
down with a massive like heart attack.
Yeah.
And the doctor knew exactly what to do. Kept him in the snow. Kept him like kept everything cold.
Yeah.
And he's like other than that he would have been dead.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. All right. So here we're at the scene where the dad is asleep on the porch.
Grandpa. Yeah.
The granddad is asleep on the porch and
Grandpa.
he's playing dead.
Dad? Dad?
She just has
Looks
a
like
ready
he's dead.
excuse.
No, he's just a deep sleeper.
He's just a deep sleeper.
dead,
Why
Google.
would she just assume that? Has he pulled this trick before?
Yeah.
And why is he so weird? And
Yeah,
was his
why?
character inspired by Robert Shaw?
It could be, but Robert Shaw is just legendary for that role.
Yeah.
just saying. I mean, completely drunk the entire time.
Yes.
I just meant like appearance and attitude. He's acting like Robert Shaw from Jaws.
Well, it's that generation thing, you know.
Oh, well, like the bandana and the way that it just kind of that gruffness.
Well, he's kind of like to me. I always thought of this like this is kind of like this is the '80s version of OK Boomer. Like the boomers in the '80s were like the like the burnt out hippies from like the late '60s.
The great generation, the greatest generation.
Yeah, who were just like by the time they got to the '80s, they were just done.
Yeah.
You know, and that's good. Like nowadays, the boomers are all like, I'm angry, but back then it was like, it's cool, man. Gonna pretend to be dead for my grandkids.
Because that's what grand people do.
That's what they do, you know.
Well, he was growing pot in his window.
Darn right.
That's right. So he's probably stoned all the time. Okay, so this makes more sense. I was really
And why
like,
he has a craving for ding dongs and
why
root
would
beer.
a grandfather do this? And why would she just? She's like, oh, he's just a deep sleeper. That's all. He must have pulled this before.
Well,
yeah. She knows his personality.
Yeah, I mean, and you can
He's
tell.
a bit of a weirdo.
Yeah, like, you can tell they're a weird family. She's a little like hippy dippy too.
Yeah.
The way she, the mom.
But okay, so the kids start reacting. All right, so listen to the kids react.
Dad? Dad?
Looks like he's dead.
No, he's just a deep sleeper. If he's dead, can we go back to Phoenix?
If he's dead, can we go back to Phoenix?
Well, I'm sure if the mom was acting more freaked out, he would have been more freaked out.
Stop it.
Are you freaking out, man?
Are you freaking out, man?
That's pretty far out, man.
Does the space code make your nipples go pointy?
Do you use your
Whoa.
pointy antennas to send data back to Earth? I bet you do, you freaky old bastard, you.
So you've never seen Flight of the Conchords, Bowie to Bowie?
Yeah, I've never. Yeah, I've
This
never.
is Bowie back to Bowie.
I've only
I
seen.
hear you loud and clear, man.
I've
Yeah.
I've been told I should watch it, but I never have gotten around to it. I only know Jermaine Clement through
What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah.
Santa Carla's the murder capital of the world.
There's some bad elements around here.
We talk about Corey's outfits. Good God.
Well, but that's the thing. That's another part. That's the 80s right there. I mean, that's straight up. I mean, we gotcha shirts and
Well, even
OP
Corey
shorts.
Feldman makes fun of him for it. He's like,
Yeah.
if you're looking for the diet yogurt stand, it's down the street or whatever.
But that was a difference. Like you had the people that wanted to dress like they dress like the punks. They had the people that wanted to dress like Don Johnson. Then you had
Yeah.
the people that dressed like like mom bought their outfits at at JCPenney's because there was no Walmart back then. or Target. So.
Well, I have to complain more about his hairstyle than his clothes.
but that's the 80s too, baby.
But everybody else's hairstyle I can get on board with. But his,
What, the Jason Patrick mullet? You can get on board with that? He's got that Kurt Russell mullet.
that's a little harder to swallow than most things. But not as hard to swallow as this right here because I don't understand it.
It's kind of like a badly done Zach Morris.
Yeah. No, it is. But, this is where MC Hammer got his whole idea.
Wait a second, let me get this straight. Are you telling me that we moved to the murder capital of the world? Are you serious, Grandpa?
Well, now let me put it this way. If all the corpses buried around here was to stand up all at once, we'd have one hell of a
That is
population.
some bolo
problem.
tie.
So that sounds like more foreshadowing
That
if
is
this
a
were like
great freeze frame.
a zombie movie. But why did the grandfather allow them to move here?
Well, if
He's acknowledged that especially at the end of the movie, he re-acknowledges that he knows that there are vampires here.
Yeah, it's straight up. And that's like the best line of the movie.
Yeah, the very
It is.
last line.
It's the best line of the movie. And all the goddamn vampires.
So why would he not move, or why would he allow them to come to live with him? I'm trying to what's your question?
Both.
Well, I think that if your daughter came to you and said, I left my husband, I need a place for me and the kids to go, you wouldn't deny them that. And frankly, why does he know about the vampires but not her if she lived here her whole life with him before moving to Arizona?
That's another good question. But now that he does know, shouldn't he at least warn her?
Well, maybe they're thinking that, they won't be that big of a deal for them
Or he's just, he's one of those
because
things.
they're locals.
Yeah, and it could just be that he's just protective and, who knows? Maybe he was a hunter.
And maybe he's just stoned right now. He doesn't even realize that they're actually there.
Maybe he doesn't actually know that there are vampires. He's just high and thinks that, oh yeah, I saw a vampire in my bathtub the other day.
What was he doing in your bathtub?
Yeah, why?
Not important.
I was in there. He was with me.
Look, it's not important. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it happened. We don't need to know why it happened, but it happened.
Oh, this was just a crazy dream I had the other day. Forget all about it.
Now I want garlic.
So does it seem to you that the grandfather's personality changes? Like sometimes he's kind of loopy and overly friendly, and like right there he was super gruff.
Well, I think that's the thing. He's loopy when he's high, and then he's. I really think, and this is just me being in supernatural brain right now. I really think he's a hunter. That's why you don't want to go in that room. It's like I think that's
Where he kept his stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's why he knew about vampires, and he was going to try to protect his grandchildren and his daughter.
Yeah.
And the fact that she moved away. Cool, you're safe, but now you're coming back here. Let me try to protect you because now you're moving back home for a little bit, not for good.
So what you're saying is they're cousins to the Winchesters.
I'll say, yeah.
So that's the
Papa
new lore
Win-
we're deciding right now.
Papa Winchester. Oh yeah, Papa Winchester. I've always kind of thought that, just kind of like, especially like at the end where you're
do
like,
we know what Mary Winchester's name was before Winchester? I'm trying to remember.
yes, it was the Campbells.
Oh no, but these are the Edisons.
Yeah, it was the
So-
Campbells.
So they say.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
she was Mary Campbell.
They want you.
They want
to
you to
think.
believe that. Yeah, it was Mary. It was Mary Campbell and John Winchester.
All right, so the next one I've got is coming up. So here we're going to the beach. The camera's flying over the water.
So Zach, I think yours is about to line up with mine.
Okay.
Were you ready for the sax man?
Well, I saw your picture that you posted on Facebook, but I have to say no.
I don't think anyone's ready for the sax man.
Look at this dude. Look at this dude.
And his codpiece.
Okay.
Like,
First of all, I have to say I love this guy. I love this guy.
Okay, funny story about that.
Uh-huh.
Because of the damn pandemic, you and all of us could have seen that man live at Rams Head in Annapolis the weekend of my birthday this past May.
Oh man,
He was going to be there because Timmy and I were going to get tickets.
Really?
We were going to go. We were like, are you kidding me?
I can't believe this.
No, he was going to be at Rams Head Annapolis.
he is a lot less swole now.
Okay, so that I was going to
He's
ask.
still pretty cut though. Like I saw a recent photo of him.
So I was going to ask. So this is a real musician.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Just wow.
Don't start with me.
No. Whoa. No. I'm not, don't be defensive. I love this
Tim
guy.
Capello is a genius. If you haven't seen it, look up John Hamm's impersonation of this scene on Saturday Night Live, where he just all of a sudden just shows up in random scenes where he's just shirtless with a sax.
Yeah. No, this guy, he has a body and a half. Yeah. Jesus Christ. And if that's really him playing, he can play his ass off.
And the chains around his neck and his arms, like he looked like he just like ripped them off of someone's like motorcycle or something.
And I have to say, I love that too. Everything about his appearance is great.
That song, I will die on the hill of that being one of the greatest songs of all time.
Greatest of all. I like the song, but greatest of all time.
And also,
dude, when it starts at boom boom boom, boom boom, you're like, oh, here it comes.
Here it comes. Well, here let's listen to a bit of this. Also, what is it with the barrel fires in the 80s?
I was about to say, I was like, oh, it's a
Look at him
dumpster
move.
fire.
Look at this dude move.
It takes a very secure man to dance around like that in purple leggings and.
Well, yeah, but I have to say, if any man should be secure,
It's this guy.
this guy right here.
I always said if I
And
ever
you were
got
just
in great
going
shape,
on and on about Rocky's body.
Well, he was lean.
Lean muscle.
yeah,
This guy is.
This guy is just a built mother.
I always said if I ever got into really good shape like that was me my Halloween costume one year.
That'd be a great one.
1 year maybe. 'Cause I'd find those purple pants, chains.
Gotta tack on some mass.
I know where I can get a saxophone. I'm good to go.
Yeah. Oh my God, this guy is just brilliant. But yeah, what was it with the 80s and barrel fires?
That's another thing about like beach movies. It's either barrel fires or it's just like you're gonna go out onto a random beach and have a campfire.
Right.
How many times have we all been at a beach where it's like you put a campfire, you better take that fire out. You're gonna be fined $500, and it's like what is it, California, like Thunderdome, where you can just burn things on the beach at any time.
You better be doing a gender reveal.
Yeah, I was gonna say that there are dastardly consequences.
I was going to say, yeah. Thank you, couple that had decided to, burn down half of the West Coast because of a gender reveal.
We all should know this by now, but I don't. What gender was it?
No, I don't even care.
Yeah, it's.
Do you know the gender?
I thought it was a girl, but who cares? Because it's not born yet. It hasn't decided.
And most people just do like, a balloon explodes and it had purple or it had pink or blue like chalk dust in it.
Or
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cut a cake and the cake had pink frosting on the inside.
Yeah, but no.
So it's a boy.
These people
Yeah.
decided to burn down
Because
the
it's a boy
entire
that
West
likes
Coast.
pink.
Yeah, exactly. Who are you to say otherwise?
Well, who are you to decide? Never mind.
Let's not get into this.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Let's get into 80s barrel fires.
Also, I really love her skirt. I want that skirt.
Yeah.
Very sparkly.
Now, look at this guy just staring her down. Does not blink, does not attempt to pretend like he's not staring at her.
He's a predator.
He seems it. Also, he's a sexy man, too. Look at this dude move.
How much baby oil do you think he went through?
Dude,
And do you
I
feel
love
like
this guy.
covered in oil, was it dangerous to be that close to the fire?
I want you to know,
singing along.
I'm not being ironic. I love this guy. I seriously do.
And we also see our first glimpse of little Eddie Munster. So both of the fellas here are bopping.
Yeah.
And by both of the fellas, I mean Chris and Zach.
This is just.
Look at him staring at her, though. Like,
I've picked up many a woman that way. I'm just saying, many a girlfriend. I've just been like, staring. I'm just gonna keep staring.
You're just gonna make eyes.
And I do this sometimes. I just go, hello.
He's doing the Dracula where he's putting like the cape over his.
Hello.
So
It's amazing how many girlfriends he's had based on this tactic.
I can't remember.
so later,
Am I dating somebody now? I can't remember.
Oh, you were in so much trouble
you
when
know
I
she's gonna be on Sunday.
Yep, Sunday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So later in the movie, lady here, Star, reveals
Jamie Gertz.
that she is sorry that she got him involved, but she felt so strongly for him. When did the feeling so strongly happen?
Yes.
And also, he was making eyes at her like he wanted to eat her, and like that was attractive.
Born to be a vampire.
But that's that. I mean, but
It suits him.
yeah, that's yeah. I mean, you don't need to explain some of those things sometimes in movies where it's just kind of like, that's to the nth degree. This is just like, well, I saw her across the bar, she saw me, and our eyes.
There was
met.
an instant.
It was an instant. I knew that I'd found the one. That's that version of it, except with shirtless sax man.
I
just
know where you
rocking up
got
there.
that speech from. But so I will say that in this movie, though, they're both supposed to be teenagers, and teenagers are led by their groins.
Yes.
So
Sex glands.
So I will say that in that way, they're just kind of instant infatuation and love. It kind of makes sense because they're fucking teenagers, man.
Yeah.
They are fucking teenagers.
Yeah, they make out for a while, but then they become fucking teenagers.
Yeah, they become fucking teenagers around the
remember,
middle part of this movie.
They're beautiful sexual teenagers. That's
Sexy
vampires, sexy teenagers. Joel Schumacher everywhere. Nipples on the batsuit.
I don't know that I'll ever forgive him for putting nipples on a batsuit, but you got to hand it to him. Sexy. These were some sexy people.
No, I mean it is. I mean, and then you probably had like one of the main members of the Brat Pack with Kiefer Sutherland as your lead vampire. So there you go.
Yeah. So who's the most attractive person in this movie? And what's the name of the sax man, by the way?
Tim Capello.
Okay, good.
God, dude, because pretty much it's got to be Kiefer Sutherland. I mean, Jason Patrick, because Jason Patrick was definitely a good-looking guy.
This fella?
Yeah, it's Jason Patrick. But I would have to say Kiefer Sutherland, just because he
exudes
he's the
something.
bad boy. He's the bad. And Kiefer Sutherland in real life is the bad boy. And if you ever want to look up something funny, watch Kiefer Sutherland punch a Christmas tree because someone told him that Christmas tree was talking shit about him.
What?
There's a whole.
He sounds like my kind of guy.
Long story short, too late. There's a documentary where Kiefer Sutherland was managing a band, and he goes on tour. He's in Britain with them, and he's basically managing them. And he's drunk the entire time because Kiefer Sutherland is notoriously like a party drunk.
Okay.
So anyway, they're sitting in the lobby of this really fancy hotel, and Kiefer Sutherland is completely drunk. And this one guy's like, "Hey, Kiefer, that tree just talks shit about you," and he just launches a fist and just tackles it. And then somewhere later in the movie, he's sitting at the bar, and he either wants another drink or they need to go. And Kiefer Sutherland just sits there and he's staring at this guy, and the guy's talking, and he just goes, looks at his drink, looks at him, looks at his drink. He's like, "You need to learn to drink those faster." And so Kiefer Sutherland just complete badass.
Oh, I love this Hollywood moment right here.
Yeah.
That was a good story.
But when he tackled that Christmas tree, dude,
I want to see that.
Oh my god,
I
it
wanna
was
see that.
like, it's just Kiefer Sutherland just.
So he definitely exudes some sort of
Virility.
devil may care
Yeah.
sort of attitude. I love that.
Yep.
But I have to say, just physical.
Mm-hmm.
I have to give it to little Patty. What was his name?
Jason Patrick.
Jason Patrick.
Jason Patrick. Is it?
I have to give it to him. He has a neck the size of a tree
Yeah.
and a jawline to die for. And when he has the earring on later, something about that earring, man.
It's funny about Jason Patrick. He did a lot of things, but he's mostly known for like this. There's that movie Rush where they him and I forget her name. It was Jennifer Jason Leigh, where they play like DEA agents or something that actually get addicted to drugs. And they had to go through that, and that was like one of his big movies too. But it's like he's one of those guys that it never really like became like Kiefer Sutherland. I mean, Kiefer Sutherland actually, after this, it was like Young Guns, and then of course 24.
Yeah, he maintained a level of stardom.
And that it's just Jason Patrick's just kind of been one of those guys.
Yeah. Well, same with Corey Feldman.
Yeah, but Feldman's got a lot of blockbusters under his belt, though.
Yeah, but current Feldman is kind of an interesting creature.
He's odd, yeah.
Yeah, and
He was in Psych.
And I felt really.
I did know that.
I feel bad for the past, that he had to endure that
Yeah.
probably made him the little bit of eccentric that he is.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, sure.
I mean, he was Mouth, so I'm just saying.
What?
So Zach does not like Goonies.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
I'll see you later. Thank you very much. It's been
No,
great. I'm going to take the head.
That's that is a hill that I'm willing to die on.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I'm. He also didn't like Neverending Story. I can see that a little bit more, but Goonies.
I don't think. Did I watch Neverending Story all the way through? It felt like it would never end, so I think I might have walked away.
It went on and on, my friend.
It sure did.
Chris is just shaking his head. No, I love the Neverending Story. I grew up with it. I love the Goonies because Goonies never say die.
So I never watched either of those as a kid.
I saw Goonies in the theater and I was obsessed. I had the LL Bean special edition Data backpack. I wanted that gray members only jacket that Mouth wore.
Yeah.
It was straight. Like I was obsessed.
And I can see that.
I hated the thing about it. Like our family had have like summer homes in Nova Scotia, so we're close to Maine. So I'm close to caves, and I'm obsessed about going up to Nova Scotia every summer. I'm like, I want to find a cave system, and Mom's like, the fuck you want?
So like this is the same argument that I gave for Jaws, and the fact that it doesn't have the same impact on me than it has to other people that saw it when they were younger. The effects and everything plays a big role, I think, in making that feel exciting and stuff like that. So you can still access those feelings because they're burned into your brain from when you were a kid. And I don't have that. So I go into it and I'm seeing a bunch of corny effects with some child actors. And I'm like,
Follow them size 5s.
I'm starting to like this kid.
but I say the same thing is true about Star Wars. But I saw Star Wars when I was a kid, like the originals. And so I love them. And it's still just as exciting to watch those movies for me, because I can access those feelings. Yep. But I bet if I hadn't seen them before and I go in as an adult and watching them, like the effects are all right. I mean, I guess I can see what it did for cinema.
Well, that's prime example for me. Never seen Toy Story. Watched Toy Story a couple months ago. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was it. I mean, I don't have a desire to go see. Will I watch the other ones? Okay, fine. Maybe I will go watch 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. But I was still just like, okay, that was funny.
Are you going to watch the Halloween special?
I didn't know there was one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like I watched it and I was like, cool. Okay.
Yeah, and that's exactly the same sort of thing that I feel for Goonies.
You shouldn't hate it then. I'm just saying.
I hate is a strong word. I don't hate it. I just don't. I don't know. It's all right.
We're going to fight.
All right, it's fine.
We'll
throw down.
I'm waiting for the throwdown.
But I also haven't seen it in a while, so maybe I'll watch it again, and I'd have
a new appreciation.
I'd have a new appreciation for it, perhaps.
Zach also doesn't like child actors.
Oh, okay.
Just as a general rule, some of them are good.
I usually don't like child actors
like
in horror
Lucy
movies.
Pevens from Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, the young girl. Mm-hmm. I would punch her in the head.
That's how I was for the kid in the Babadook. I was like, I will murder you and everything that is you, you little.
Everything connected to you, I will destroy.
Yeah, that's how I was. That's how I was about the kid in the Babadook.
Yeah, Lucy from Lion, the Witch, and the It was Lucy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I have such a visceral hatred.
Which I don't. She was cute.
Nah.
No.
Okay. The worst thing that ever happened.
Now her brother,
Edmund.
Yeah, the younger brother.
Yeah, Edmund.
Yeah, because he was punchable. If anyone was punchable, it was Edmund.
Oh, sure, but he was designed to be punchable. She was supposed to be cute.
I think she's cute. Anyways, back to Lost Boys.
You've almost lost me. Walk, walk, walk. I haven't seen Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe for like forever.
I haven't either. I read the books though years ago.
Yeah, see, I never read them.
Oh, so I did want to bring up the fact that Saxman has a wedding ring on.
She liked it, so she put a ring on it.
If you like it, you put a ring on.
I will walk out.
Who sings that? I don't actually know.
Beyonce.
That's the only part that I know.
Beyonce.
Thank you.
I've got no love for Beyonce.
Where's Kaya when I need her?
So this is the scene where the Lost Boys enter the store.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question for you boys while this is playing, unless there's a bit of important dialogue.
Well, I was going to comment on stuff happening. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just so we don't know this at this scene of the movie, but as as they're walking in, there's this acknowledgement between them. Like he recognizes them, they know him obviously because he's their sire.
Yeah.
There's a woman that is constantly at the video store also working. Is she undead? And does she know about them? because there would have to be some sort of connection. I feel like for her to, she's not threatened by these boys, and they're supposed to be somewhat threatening. So my question is does this other woman in the background, do we think that she either is like a Renfield, or does she know, or is...
It's a good point. So you think if this fella, well, firstly, how many people, I don't think it ever says in the movie, does this guy, has he sired any other vampires except for these Lost Boys?
We don't know.
Yeah, we just know that he talks about his boys, and his boys need a mother, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, it's never stated how old he is. So,
Yeah.
like the mythology of his vampire, it's never really stated. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, is it important was it in the script? Is it important for this movie? Probably not. So
Yeah.
that's probably why it was left out.
Yeah, sure.
I'm guessing.
Okay, so what I was gonna say was the boys go into the store, and the dog growls at the main guy, at David here.
Mm-hmm.
So he lives with
Thorn.
Yeah, Thorn lives with Max, right? And Max is a vampire. So why is he growling at David? Because I thought that they established later that they growl at undead people.
Yeah.
But he lives with an undead person.
So that could be just the movie doing that little bit of a swerve, trying to throw you off.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that literally could be all it is.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like, hey, there's something shady about these guys.
Right, so it doesn't-
Let's have a dog growl.
It doesn't quite make sense if you analyze it, but
Yeah.
it's the sort of thing that they're just trying to give you a hint of kind of what's happening, but
Yeah.
trying to throw you off of Max.
Yeah, saying here's a dog growling because there's something off about these kids. Oh, and it's gonna be mirrored when the other dog, the other dog growls. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense when you say, oh, that's his dog.
But Thorn is also not a real dog. He's a double dog. He's a hellhound. He's a guardian of the vampire.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that he was supposed to actually. I think somebody calls him a hellhound later in the movie.
We see a comic book where it references it. So during the day when he's sleeping, the mom goes to deliver an apology bouquet of flowers or a bottle of wine or something.
Yeah.
And Thorn attacks her because he's guarding the sleeping vampire.
But that still doesn't explain why he growls at David.
Yeah.
Unless it's just he's a threatening presence of some kind.
Could be.
Suppose. But he's walking by his master,
Too close to daddy.
maybe.
He's got daddy issues.
So that's all I had in this area. Did you have something else in this area you want to talk about?
Just at 1410, A Tale of Two Corys, soon to be best friends.
All right. So Corey Haim walks into the comic store.
So I will say that the non-Cory Frog brother, Mark thought, and I couldn't find, so I couldn't confirm it, he thought that that was originally supposed to be Ralph Macchio.
Oh, I hadn't heard that, but it's possible. That'd be interesting.
To play the
One of the Frog brothers.
Oh, wow, okay.
So Corey Feldman is 16 here, and when he speaks, his voice sounds super strained. The director told him to sound like Stallone. He gave him some Stallone movies and was like, "This is how I want you to be."
I was wondering
Just
why
scoping
his
your
voice was like
civilian ward.
freakishly deep and weird.
Cool, huh?
Yeah, because he looks like he's 16 in reality here, but he looks like he's 12.
Yeah, he does look a lot younger.
Yeah.
Fashion victim. Listen, buddy, if you're looking for the diet frozen yogurt bar, it went out of business last
Wow, I
summer.
can hear that now.
Actually,
Diet
I'm looking
Fools
for a
and yogurt
Batman
bar.
bar.
Yeah, dude, yeah, I can hear that now. Wow.
It was an odd choice.
It really was. I mean, because what it sounds like it's what it's. I guess maybe that's what Schumacher was going for. Look, you're a kid, but you're trying to sound tough.
Yeah.
So you got to sound cheesy tough.
Yeah, okay, so you think it was intentionally kind of over the top?
Yeah, because I mean, like when they actually get presented with actual vampires, they start freaking out. Like like they oh my god, So it's
Some of my favorite stuff is later in the movie when they're about to go into the cave, and you got the Frog brothers, and they're like, "All right, check my weapons on my back." It's like, "All right, you good? All right, now check me." It's just so goofy. You guys are kids, and you're trying to sound like you're in your 30s.
Warriors, yeah. Oh, I missed my timestamp where I said I felt bad for Mr. Skunky here. And it was just, she was too busy laughing at the comics, like actual
in the car.
funny page comics,
yeah.
to actually be interested in any of his
He was trying
Fanciness.
his advances.
Yes.
I like that she kept slapping him and he kept going for it anyway.
I'm trying to read my Archies.
Oh, what I liked about that scene was the camera swoops in on the car from the sky at least once or twice before anything actually happens to the car.
So kind of like their bets, like test
Yeah, so like the first one, I don't want to do it. You can take it. The guy behind me, and then the next guy comes, I don't feel like doing it, and then the next guy comes, all right, I'll take the roof off.
Yeah, it's probably it's somebody had
Alex
fun with
Winter.
a dolly crane.
Yeah. And death.
Death from above.
All right, now here we've got the grandpa showing off his nice Ford, whatever I said.
Ford Fairlane.
The 1957.
Oh, it's not mint blue, but it is an icy blue.
I totally forgot about this car. I totally was going for his old beat up
That's
truck.
as close to town as I want to get.
This is such an odd moment. Let's watch it. All right, he's taking young Sam into town.
Gotta let it warm up a little. Hear that, Sam? Just like a baby pussycat. Okay, let's go to town.
What cat sounds like that?
An angry
A sick one?
Apparently.
Yeah, we having fun or what?
Panther.
I thought we were going to town.
That's as close to town as I like to get.
What a weirdo, man.
Yes, he is a weirdo. All right, so
He knows what's in town.
So what I said about this is I find it really weird that Kiefer Sutherland's character David here is such an accurate historian.
Yeah.
He's like, in 1922, this was the premier hotel.
But that's the thing. I mean, he's that old.
yeah, I was gonna say, how
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So like he remembers all this stuff.
do we ever get an idea as to how old he is? Does he ever say?
No.
No, but you do somehow. Now I don't know if that's like when I watched one of the behind the scenes, like on the special edition DVD.
Yeah.
But I do know that like
He's been
character-
around for this to happen.
He's since around the turn of the century, I think.
Okay.
Like that's how old he is, and everybody else, because you've seen their missing posters, they're
much
younger.
younger.
Yeah, but David is like he's been around for
Yeah.
at least 80 years probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, I think, one of the most iconic scenes in the movie.
Good. Chinese. Good choice. Over here, bud. Yes, first. You don't like rice? Tell me, Michael, how could a billion Chinese people be wrong? Come on.
Just plain rice. How boring.
I mean, I do
They're
enjoy,
maggots.
I do enjoy plain rice.
How are those maggots? Maggots, Michael. You're eating maggots. How do they taste?
All right, so he sees maggots. So what is this witchcraft?
This
Is it like a glamour?
Yeah.
Yeah, vampires can sometimes perform psychic illusions,
Okay.
depending on what mythos you follow. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I saw you walk through the spiderweb, so I just assumed I could.
No hard feelings, huh?
Have some worms.
Renfield, you asshole.
Why don't you try some worms? They're worms. I mean, they're worms.
What do you mean?
Tony.
So here's the question. Which way does the glamour go? Are they actually worms?
No.
And he's making them look like noodles? Or are they actually noodles and he's making them look like worms?
No, it's actual food, and he's playing around with Michael's head.
I really wish it was the opposite.
This is some kind of weird hazing ritual, man.
They're only noodles, Michael.
They're only noodles, Michael.
So my thing is, no matter how much you want to pretend that blood is wine or wine is blood, wine does not taste like blood.
No, it doesn't at all. Like
Or
I've
that
tasted my
vampire's
own
drunk
blood
24/7.
I've tasted my own blood many, many times in my life, and it is disgusting tasting. It doesn't taste like it's very oaky.
I will say that there is precedent for this, though.
I got a little leather, a little smoke.
Jesus' blood. It's definitely wine.
Communion.
People drink it all Sundays.
I was like, they don't drink it to get drunk.
I'm gonna take the spirit of Timmy right here and do quote Family Guy. And he goes, "That's Jesus' blood. Oh, he must have always been tanked."
I will say that the blood cask that they're drinking from, the bottle, beautiful bottle.
Very ornate.
Yeah, that's like one of those things that the art department was really happy to make. Like, are you really? We can do whatever we want. Cool.
Yep. So he's about to drink the blood.
And so my other question is, if he refused, would they have just killed him? Like, what would they have done with him if he had refused?
I mean, that's my guess. I mean, like they wanted somebody else to be a part of him, but if he did refuse,
It wasn't just that they wanted. I think they were commanded to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they were.
But at this point, you don't know that.
Yeah.
At this point, you just think, yeah, one of us.
Google gobble.
Google gobble. Yeah.
How much of that was hair extensions on Alex Winter, and how much was his actual hair? Where does the wig begin and Alex Winter's end?
That's the thing. Some of these stylists, you know, in Hollywood, in these movies, like you can never tell. You're just like,
Well, I think most of the hair is real on the other guys because,
Yeah.
like, I've seen.
What's with this face he makes right here with the tongue out?
well, like Kiefer Sutherland's hair is real because, like,
Yeah.
even in Flatliners, his hair looked like that, very similar to that.
Yeah, and the darker hair other vampire.
Oh yeah, like
I've seen him in real life, and he has that hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been at a Chiller. He was at Chiller.
Yeah, I think I do remember seeing them there. I mean, seeing them on the list. Yeah, like a Lost Boys reunion.
I got in a lot of the Michael count in this scene.
They're only
Well, that and the
noodles, Michael.
railroad scene.
Oh yeah, that one too. Yeah,
Michael.
which we're actually
coming
that-
up.
Yeah, which is my next thing that I timestamped at 3150s. Why the hell would you agree to this?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I guess there's something to say like he's blood drunk at this point. You know, so maybe that makes sense. Like he's high.
Well, but I think this was kind of like
A hazing ritual.
yeah, kind of a coming of age movie in some ways, and so he
It's
was
Stand by Me.
He
but
was
with vampires.
dying to fit in.
no, and I think that he was.
Get out.
I feel like I'm being railroaded.
Get out.
Please, double time now.
I'm just doing my Cary Grant. Just get out.
It was at
Out.
this.
So anyway, I think this is mainly about him trying to get in with a new crowd,
Yeah. Well, it's also
and he's being peer pressured.
I was gonna say it's straight up peer pressure.
I mean, I was in a sorority. I know about hazing and peer pressure and all of that, but I just nothing that put me at death's door harm.
That may be more of a male teenage thing.
Oh.
Especially the more testosterone heavy.
Oh yeah.
male.
No, completely.
Yeah, I can't support my own weight to do one of these death rituals if I wanted to, which I don't.
All right, so next weekend, this is what we're doing.
Yes.
Okay, you find a working rail yard that would allow us.
We're gonna find one.
Actually, I know where there is a rail bridge.
There
down
we go.
the Eastern Shore.
There we go.
So, boom shakalaka.
All right, so we've got this all set up.
I already said that I don't have the arm
Peer
strength.
pressure, peer pressure, peer pressure.
And yet,
Under pressure.
I'm not going to do anything that'll get me killed before I go to Disney World on my honeymoon.
Look, you just need to turn into a vampire before you try it, and it'll be all right.
Exactly. It'll be fine. You'll be fine. Trust us.
Not
We
before
lied to
Disney.
you.
I want to. They've limited Disney hours, so I want to be able to ride the rides, and I can't do that if I can't go out during the sunlight
Look,
hours.
okay, we'll risk your life after your honeymoon. It'll be
Yeah,
okay.
It'll be fine.
That's
it'll
fine.
It'll be what they call a November surprise.
All right, so the next one I've got is 38.
Oh, we probably will overlap.
Oh, please, not the bathtub scene. No, God, no.
It's the bathtub scene.
Oh yeah.
God.
No, this,
Damn
I said,
it.
I mean, vampire or not, I think we would all want to kill this kid.
Yes.
All right. Oh, so you
if there's a low point in this movie, it's oh God.
I thought that it turned into Home Alone.
Yeah,
at that,
I can remember just first seeing this, just going, "Oh, could you just shut the?"
he was taking Macaulay Culkin's work before Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
And I was also going to say in this scene, you know, Nanook is a very good dog. I'm just forever grateful that they didn't hurt the dog in this movie.
Yeah.
Why would they have hurt the dog?
Because in every horror movie, it feels like they have something against the babies.
Yeah, like, you know, I just watched Amityville. And I'm always just like, oh, yeah. Actually, no, but you know what? I remember in Amityville, the original dog survives. You know, like, you know, Brolin goes back in to get the dog.
I can't believe
specifically.
Ryan Reynolds would agree to that.
Yeah, and then in the remake, Ryan Reynolds they act at all. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm gonna kill your face.
Yeah, so why did this turn into Home Alone?
Cause
They're trying to make you uneased.
Oh, I'm uneasy.
Well, it's just like he doesn't. I guess it's the ultimate way of like he has no clue what's getting ready to happen, and that's why the dog, growling and attacking and everything is
So
important.
my question. So he's got his eyes on on
That's
young,
a ferocious freeze frame.
on young Sam over there. So why did he have this like predatory instinct all of a sudden?
Well,
Because it doesn't seem like any of the other vampires do.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's in vampire lore. He's just becoming a vampire, so it's like
So he's ultra
Young
aggressive.
vampires
First.
are hungry
yeah,
and
yeah.
Okay.
out
so
of control.
It's just straight up, yeah. And the thing is, like in some vampire lore, that's your no turning back point. If you
drink the blood.
if you drink the blood, you're forever a vampire. But if you don't, there's a chance you can be saved.
Well, I think that's different in this movie because
it's he's becoming a vampire, but this lore is like he's becoming a vampire, and
you have to make a kill before you're a full vampire.
well, it's not just that. It's just straight up. It's like think of it as like hormones. Like that could have been a cute girl next door, and it's just like
so he's going through puberty twice in this movie.
kind of, yeah. That's kind of what they're kind of showing, where it's like it's like, man, that's my little brother right there, but I'm gonna kill him.
But he deserved it in that scene.
Yeah, and he had to be broken out of it by the dog, who was kind of his protector.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a quick scene.
Puppy!
Puppy power.
Scrappy
Well, I was
Doo,
gonna say, was
a
that Scrappy Doo?
Magnum. Scrappy Doo. Magnum.
That was also Eddie Izzard. So much Eddie Izzard. All right, so the
By
next
the
one
end
I have.
of our recording history, I think we're gonna have covered Dress to Kill from start to finish.
I hope someone can make a supercut of every single reference we make and put it in order, and it will just be us performing his
Man,
act.
we're gonna need a super fan.
Yep.
Maybe the guy in Russia. Privyet.
Privyet.
I had to say hello to him last time. We have a Russian listener and a Swedish listener.
Privyet, comrade.
Privyet.
Tovarish.
Spasiba.
Impossible.
I believe Spasiba is, I think, thank you.
Look at your reflection in the mirror.
Like how quickly he believed that he was a vampire.
Well, I mean, he is seeing his brother disappear in a mirror.
Yeah, that's pretty damning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're creature of the night, Michael.
You're a creature of the night, Michael.
Just like out of a comic book.
But remember, I mean,
You're
he
a vampire.
also at this point, he's what, supposed to be 12 or something?
Yeah.
He's already got his brother acting weirdly, son, all that stuff.
And some older people at a
So
comic store telling him.
Yeah, he didn't even need his brother to start disappearing in a mirror to be like, man, maybe you were a vampire. Because
Yeah,
12-year-old brain saying, obviously,
Yeah.
you're a vampire.
He sleeps all day. His hands are really sweaty.
Yeah, it's just like, you're like, okay.
Makes perfect sense.
Michael, my own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy. Stay back. Don't let me talk. Wait.
Wait till Mom hears about this.
Do you have one before 43:28?
No, my next one is 48:40.
All right, so we've got Michael dangling outside.
By telephone.
So why is he floating out there?
He accidentally allowed himself to get flung out the window because he kept hitting the ceiling.
Oh, nothing.
It was a bad decision. He's starting to learn how to fly, and he's like, better.
Okay, so this is the power of flight.
Yeah.
I thought it may have been like he didn't have permission to be in the house anymore, and so the
see
magic
that.
was kind of pushing him out.
Yeah,
But
at the
then he
same time,
continued to
it's-
float?
It's still his house. Like,
Yeah, and that was
He's human enough.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, it was already his thing, so he doesn't
Yeah,
have to.
it's his family's house, so he doesn't
Yeah.
have to be invited in.
Right. Okay, so it was
Nothing.
that question, and also I just love what he says.
I can't talk about it on the phone. It's about Michael.
Don't listen to him, Mommy doesn't know what he's saying. Shut up, Sam.
Mom, help!
I just really love that line. Don't listen to him, Mommy doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, who would like that? Sounds so guilty.
It's like every mother would be like, "Yeah, I'll be home in like 5."
I just absolutely love that. Like, what made him think that was gonna make her like, oh, okay.
Sure, I'm gonna go back to watching Golden Girls.
You sound super innocent, so I'm just gonna go back to doing what I'm doing.
You haven't done anything to make me doubt your credibility yet.
Yeah, but just don't listen to him because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Son, have you been drinking?
Have you been doing the pot? So I don't have one until now, an hour and 13.
48:40. So just the scene. He berates her for information, I can tell you. But I won't. So let's just make out.
Exactly. It's got that. It's got the theme playing though. Gerald McMahon
Barry
right there.
Schumacher.
What's happening?
This is getting funky music.
Cry Little Sister playing. Yeah.
I do love that song.
Oh, it's amazing. The soundtrack is just amazing.
Agreed.
And then right after the canoodling,
So
there's a bunch of clouds, and I was just like, I swear it's the same clouds they used for Neverending Story.
It could be stock footage.
So these are the sexy kids I guess he was after?
Right before she joined Tornado Chasers and Twister.
She was in Twister?
She was the...
Never really seen Twister all the way through.
Oh, yeah. So
I was forced to in school.
she's the therapist girlfriend of the guy before he leaves her for Helen Hunt.
Oh, okay.
See? Very... Never-ending story.
Beautiful.
My next is 5540, where I said, does Max have a bit of a Barry Bostwick thing going on with the uncomfortable uptightness?
I have a hard time pausing it during that song.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so good. It's like,
I can't hear it
let it
because
play.
I'm without.
Oh, that's I keep forgetting that you can't hear
I
things.
know. It's like just let it play. Just let it play. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop.
So Barry Bostwick, what you talking about?
5540, I was saying, like, does Max in the scene have a little bit of a Barry Bostwick thing going on with that kind of uncomfortable uptightness?
You must be Max.
Right. How are you?
Hi, Brad.
Brad Majors.
Yes.
Could we use your phone?
Say, do any of you know how to Madison?
This charming people. Folk dancing.
Well, you're the man of the house, and I'm not coming in until you invite me.
You're invited.
Thanks very much.
Now, here's the thing about like lore there too. It's
Yeah.
like a vampire in training. Can he really invite
Does
the
he have
vampire
that
master?
authority?
I mean, I guess this
it's
is
the
it's,
grandfather's house,
but it's why he wasn't kicked out of his own house because it
Yeah.
is his thing.
I guess
So
it's
he's
just-
got the authority to.
that I don't know. That's almost like putting a sleeper cell in to like, yeah, you know what, put you in there, then invite me in. That's kind of what he did.
Sure.
I've seen people do that with Renfields
he's
before.
He's playing dirty, but I don't think it's a
I don't think
That's
vampires
dirty
care
pool,
about
oh,
being
Dirty pool.
So that is curious though, because I feel like this movie's of two minds when it comes to allowing vampires into your house. Because in the end of the movie, it doesn't seem like it matters. Because all the other vampires start breaking in, and they've not been invited in.
you lose power. That's what he says. He said once you're invited in.
So maybe
You
because the
lose.
sire
No, this
was
is-
invited
yeah.
in, he could bring anybody.
Well,
in he wants.
but that explanation was when you invite the vampire in, then the holy water and stuff won't affect them. But they never invited the other vampires
Of
in.
course,
well-
everyone knows that.
Well,
I like that line.
well, maybe because the sire was let in. Now everybody can be let in.
Is
They're
that
of
how
the
it works
same
though?
blood.
That seems
They're
like that
of
would
the
be
same
such.
blood.
There's all
Yeah, I know, but
different
that seems
vampire
like it would be
lores.
like if I give you the code to enter my house, everyone you know or like all of your people now can come into my house.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't have posted that on Facebook.
I'd appreciate it if you take that down.
I've already-
Really, this was a very long conversation to get to that.
Oh, you thought we were actually analyzing this movie? No.
I want to have a talk about the uncouthness of your
Posting my codes.
Now remove it post haste.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. That seems like a slippery slope. So, but you think that's what they're saying in this movie?
Yeah, they're of his blood, so
Yeah,
maybe they have proxy access.
Has that ever been in another vampire movie lore? I'd never heard of that before.
But I haven't actually had a lot of same sire situations like this, where there's a whole hive that were sired by the same father.
Yeah.
Well, who made Ginger Vamp in True Blood?
Bill.
Okay, so places that Bill was able to get into. Do you ever remember a situation where she had to ask permission to get in? It's been so long since I've seen the show.
I mean, she spent a lot of time at Bill's house. I don't remember her needing access to many places. I will say that she was invited back into her Deborah Ann Wall's character in True Blood was invited back into her father's house, where she had a kid sister and a mom still living, and she had to get invited back into the house, and then Bill had to get invited back into the house. So it didn't work reversely, but I don't remember a situation where it was described the other way.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's the playing around with vampire lore. It's literally, and I'm coming at this from the writer's perspective.
Yeah.
The writer basically writes in there that, the main guy, he basically, the sire gets let in, you lose power. That literally is just one line, writer writes, that is just going to explain it.
Well, that explains the main vampire not being affected by the traditional methods used to hurt a vampire.
But also think about how he doesn't say that. He just says that you lose power. So when you say lose power, you're basically just losing power over everything.
To the whole house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's something as simple as, so we don't have to go into that explanation. We don't have to go into why all the rest of them came in. You just can simply write, bad guy says you've lost the power because you invited me in. Ha 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 ha. Mwah.
I don't know if
RDRR.
I feel like, at least for me, that doesn't feel sufficient an explanation for those things, because basically if you invite any vampire in, then you lose power to your whole house forever. But that's for all vampires.
Well, even in True Blood, that wasn't a forever. There was ways to revoke it.
Yeah,
and Buffy did that too.
Yeah, it's like, I revoke your invitation. People.
Well, sure, okay, but until you did that. But how can you do that? Because you've lost all power in your house.
So the revoking,
by this lore's standards, anyway.
So by this lore's standards, they never go into the theory of revoking.
Yeah.
But like in Buffy, there was a specific ritual that you had to do to complete a revoking. In True Blood, all you had to say is, "I rescind your invitation."
Yes. Yeah, and then people would be forced out. Like I've seen that in other movies too.
I don't know. It seems like if you've lost your power to do anything in your house, that would include revoking.
Is a new power,
I guess. I don't know. It feels weird for me. That's the first thing in the movie that...
And if that's not real, none of this is real.
I'm throwing up everything. No, every hands in the air, I'm done.
So one of the things that I do like is that vampires will play up into lore. Supposing vampires were real, playing into the lore so they could pass tests that were created to test for vampires. So crucifixes. Oh, see, I'm not really a vampire because if you put a crucifix on me, nothing happens.
Yeah.
But that was a vampire created trick that people bought into. And so now that's the test.
Yeah. Anyway.
You gonna bite it.
So one thing that I have a problem with in the movie is the vampire guts. Why does it make them shimmery? This isn't Twilight.
I just read that the director wanted them to have shimmery blood.
Oh, fair enough.
And once again, nipples on the batsuit. So,
yeah, he takes swings. He takes artistic swings, and sometimes they work. Sometimes they're nipples on a batsuit.
Sometimes it's just nipples on a batsuit. It's gonna be.
That's the new expression.
2020.
Nipples
2020.
on a batsuit.
Sometimes there's
it's the
nipples
year.
on a batsuit.
It's the year equivalent of nipples on a batsuit.
Nipples on a batsuit.
Now, why would you start with the tiniest one? Wouldn't you want to start with the biggest, most imposing one?
Or just like, hey, you stand there. You stand in front of him. You stand in front of this three. Take 3 out at a time instead of just being like, boom. Oh, let's see what happens. Okay.
Let's get down and
yeah, exactly.
Alex Winters has very long eyelashes.
And I like that he's got to say a dramatic line before doing it. I am glad it was him, though, that was killed.
Aww.
Why?
I didn't like him.
Him specifically?
Yeah, his hair was...
Did you like him in Bill and Ted?
Of course.
So it was only him as the vampire?
Yeah, the hair was just out of control. All right, so I guess he's bursting into flames in the sunlight, right?
Yes.
And the reason that Michael hasn't is because he's not made his first kill and therefore not become a full vampire.
He's weakened, but he's not combustible.
He's like in the chrysalis form right now.
Do we ever see the star in the sun?
Yes.
Because she's also not a full vampire, she says.
Correct. Mm-hmm. But every day it's getting harder to resist.
Resist the kill, which would make her a full vampire.
Yes.
As far as I understand.
And Laddie as well.
Yeah.
Right. So at the end, Laddie he turns into like his vampire state, right? Mm-hmm. He gets the prosthetics on and everything. So was that Does that just automatically happen at something? Why did he do that? And why didn't she? Why didn't Star?
Michael did too.
Yeah, but Star didn't.
So I don't think she aggressed that far. Like she wasn't beaten up or scared or defensive to that.
Because think about like hormones. I mean, once again, you're going into the adrenaline pumping through Michael.
Yeah.
Like that definitely is something that can exacerbate any situation.
Yeah.
Kind of like a mutant power. It comes at times of extreme stress.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Harry Potter magic for a child. They all of a sudden have unfathomed magic, even without a wand.
Interesting.
Have you not? You're not into the Harry Potter lore?
Oh,
Was it like Toy Story for you?
Very convincing.
No, it was. I still haven't seen the very last movie, part 2, but I read the book, so I know what happens.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah,
so.
the books are the important part. The movies are.
Yeah, I read the book, but I enjoy Harry Potter. In fact, I actually enjoyed the Order of the Phoenix video game so much that I played it to completion.
I can't remember if I played those or not.
Yeah, it was
I played
the
at
one
least
on
the first
Xbox.
2.
I played it all the way through, and I got the perfect gamer score. I went
Oh,
and played
wow.
it like 3 or 4 times just
Nerd
to get
alert.
it. I know.
Speaking of, are you going to get the new one coming out? The new Harry Potter game?
I actually had another was a new one.
Yeah, it's a next-gen Harry Potter game, a full RPG where you make your character, you go through Hogwarts and everything like that. It looks really good.
That's pretty cool. No, yeah, I've tried twice to get the new systems, and both times pre-orders have punched me in the face.
See, I had hookups over here. Allison's husband pre-ordered one for me.
Yeah.
Wow, that must be nice.
Must be nice.
I'm trying to order
must
Taco
be
Bell
nice
food so
to
I can
have
get a free Xbox.
Hamilton on your side. Are you gonna just?
Is that
well,
why you're abusing yourself with Taco Bell?
No, actually, like today, I stopped by because I was hungry and I needed to eat lunch, so I just got Taco Bell and I got a drink and only drank like half of it and just throw the rest of it away.
I will say I'll have some leftover Taco Bell. I'm not above that.
Yeah.
Does it
All you have
taste
to do is
good
get
the
a
second
medium.
day?
Well,
It doesn't feel good.
I will say that one time we got the 20 taco packs for the Halloween party. There were some left over the next day, and I was like, I'm very hungry. And I was like, these are surprisingly still good.
Do you put any hot sauce or anything in them?
No, I'm pretty much just whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of, I don't think you know about this, but I made my own brand of hot sauce. I homemade some hot sauce with.
It killed me to smell it.
With habaneros and peppers that my dad grew in his garden in Baltimore.
Speaking of the Tarantino, my friend Joe does the same thing where he makes his own hot sauces. You guys should really talk.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk hot sauce and hating on Tarantino / loving Tarantino.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, I think I would get along with this guy. We'd have a fruitful conversation, maybe.
If
He'd
you
come
call
over to
it-
my side, and we would watch all of Tarantino's movies. Maybe he and I should start a podcast where we watch Tarantino movies and come at it from clashing perspectives.
Seriously, because he actually he's done a podcast before, like a genre podcast. So yeah, you should.
I dig it.
Dig it. Whoa.
It was a yawn. I'm sorry.
Evil
Oh,
face.
man, that was scary.
This is way past my bedtime.
Evil
Well,
face.
let's get to it, man.
Before you and I start rope burn laughing.
That got out of control. We had like 20 minutes where we were just giggling at the phrase rope burn. Rope burn. Rope burn.
Imagine the world's worst Pokemon.
The world's worst supervillain. He just goes around from town to town giving people rope burn.
I don't know what you guys do in the Dirty Dina, but
So in waxwork, one of the waxwork that comes to life at the end of the movie has a length of rope. And he's not quite strangling the person. He's
He's got them down like he's on top of them.
Yeah, he's going like this with it. And we get that he's probably trying to like saw the guy's throat off.
Yeah.
But it's still rope.
yeah.
It's going to take years. So
we're
he's
like-
just giving him some rope burn.
Wow.
And we're like, we couldn't
Forgot
tell.
all about that.
We couldn't tell which waxwork it was. So it's a created entity.
Yeah.
Rope burn.
I mean, I can understand. Okay, that makes a little more sense to just being like, hey, you know what's really funny? Rope burn.
Rope burn. I know you had no context at all.
Because
We
like
just
speaking
started
of
giggling.
somebody who's had rope burns, when I used to sail, I was like, y'all don't think you shouldn't be thinking that's funny because
I know what actual rope burn is.
I don't think you do.
Oh, you think we're being insensitive to actual rope burns out there?
There's a guy with a boat out there who's just going, son of a bitch, I lost a finger that day.
No, we talked about the dangers of rope tangling when we
In
did
Jaws.
the Jaws
Yeah.
episode because I've known people to lose limbs.
We treat it
from-
with all due solemnity.
But you're
Good
also
use of
not.
the word solemnity.
But you're also not like trying to hunt down a great white shark all the time. So
Not often.
Not all the time.
I would hope not.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally on weekends when don't have anything.
Feeling randy.
When I'm feeling a bit randy.
So my next timestamp is 1:18:45.
Well, mine is 1:13, so I'm going to do mine.
You do you.
So I've labeled this as Grandpa's gas rule.
Cool in a nook.
Your dog knows a flesh eater when he smells one.
Take him outside.
So who's he growling at this time?
All the vampires.
I guess the unconscious lady and
Lady.
I don't know. I feel like he should be cool with vampires now.
Well, just because you know one doesn't mean you know them all. Not all of them are good fellas.
I see.
Good fellas.
Come on, the nook.
And ladies.
Michael, you know the rule about filling up the car with gas when you take it without asking?
No, Grandpa.
Well, now you do.
And exit Grandpa. Okay, that's pretty cool for a dude who just saw his car being stolen a few hours ago, and then they come back with some unconscious people and a kid.
Yeah, it's
And then he's just like, fill up with gas. Bye.
Look, what you're doing, none of my business. Just respect the house rules.
But it's so weird because once again, like I said, that's the 80s okay boomer where they're just like, whatever, man.
You just killed a lady, maybe? I don't know.
Just to fill the car up with some petrol.
I've got to go into town sometimes and need some gas. Don't care if you kill people.
Yeah, I don't really care what you do with your free time as long as that free time gives me some free gas.
Pick me up some root beers.
That's all.
That's all I need, a TV guide.
I have a filmic note. Just I wanted to point out. It's no critique or anything. All right, so we're in the cave. The vampires are flying out. We're not seeing them, but it's implied.
Yeah.
The vampires are coming out of the cave, and then we get a shot of the waves. The shot is in reverse.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, well, it's because that's how you get it.
I mean, they could have, I guess. They had to get the camera there to back up, so they could have gone in. But I was guessing that they were reusing a shot that was from somewhere else in the movie.
Yeah,
and they just reversed it.
And it all depends on how they got that shot. It was probably easier to get it a certain way, or it was. Long story short, about the shooting things like that. Sometimes that's the only shot they got, even though they had like 4 or 5 cameras on it or something.
Yeah.
The story about that goes to The Spy Who Loved Me, James Bond, where he jumps off the mountain, and then he throws off his skis, and then all of a sudden a parachute comes out, and there's the Union Jack parachute, and that's how the movie starts. They had like 3 cameras because they only had the stuntman who was going to be able to do this insane jump where he was going to ski and then throw his skis off, and they got that shot. And the one camera guy who actually caught it nailed it. And that was it. It was perfect. So something like that, where maybe that's all they had. They're just like, shit, we're over time. Let's just go with what we got.
Just reuse this.
Yeah.
So can I disappoint you real quick?
What's that?
I've never seen any James Bond movies
I
before Pierce
turned
Brosnan.
away from us.
I was just, that doesn't shock me.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I did start one of the Sean Connery ones, but I didn't make it all the way through. Not because I didn't like it. I don't remember what stopped me, and I never went back to it.
You're forgiven.
I am totally. I want to see those, but they're not on our list as far as I know. Yeah. So I'll have to do it in my free time.
I already did an entire podcast series about the Bond movies.
So what would you say? Are they worth going back to?
Oh yeah, they're fun. I mean, because it's a lot of classics. Just like fun. Like
I'm a
60s.
Roger Moore girl, though.
Yeah.
I used to be a Brosnan. I think physically Brosnan represents the perfect entity of what James Bond looks like.
If you read the books. It's a cross between Brosnan and Connery. He's like tall, dark, handsome.
Yeah.
I think I would much rather us watch In Like Flynn.
Those are good. Our Man Flynn and In Like Flynn. Yeah,
I don't know.
It's
Flynn.
Are those
my favorite movie.
Are those James Bond flicks?
It's what Austin. It's more like an Austin Powers, but what Austin Powers was trying to be, not what he is.
And just
like that kind of, he has all these girlfriends. And
it was real cheesy. It was straight up just like, you're doing Bond. We're going to do this cheesy American version of Bond.
Yeah.
That sounds like Johnny English.
Yeah, it kind of is. But it was just James Coburn just being like this like over the top kind of like, but he wasn't Johnny English where he wasn't goofy. Right. He was actually cool and he actually could kick your ass.
Okay.
Like, it was James Coburn.
Right.
But yeah, it was just fun. But that's exactly what Austin Powers did. Like Mike Myers saw those films and was like, That's the kind of movie I want to make.
Oh, okay.
So-
So he stole,
Yeah.
just like Quentin.
It was an homage.
I don't know. It's Mike Myers. You definitely can't make an argument to so much anything.
Did you ever see Love Guru?
No, I refuse. It looks so stupid.
I mean, it was basic. It is just Austin Powers by another name.
Yeah.
It's the same type of movie.
That's what it looked like.
And it was kind of sad.
But it looked more inappropriate. Like,
racially insensitive having
Yeah.
a white Canadian do an Indian dude.
yeah.
Yeah, he was from India.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, what?
Yeah. I mean, Rowan Atkinson has done that also.
It's probably like how people were pissed off that when Adam Sandler played Zohan, where he played was like Israeli or Palestinian, I can't remember.
I never watched that.
Yeah, I never saw it either, but it pissed off a lot of people.
Sure. So yeah, people have their qualms about that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So the next one I've got is at 118.17.
Mine was 118.45, so yours probably hits it too. I just get so mad at them
I think I should warn you all.
for tying the dog up
vampire
out
bites
there,
it,
knowing that
it's
they're
never
about to be
pretty
under
sight.
vampire
No two blood
attack.
suckers
Yeah,
go out
it's
the
so
same
weird.
way.
And
Yeah.
it's like,
Some yell and scream, some go quietly. Some
So
explode.
I just like
some
this war pep talk. Like it's pre-war pep talk, and he's saying some goofy
I think I
stuff.
should warn you all. When a vampire bites it, it's never a pretty sight. No two bloodsuckers go out the same way. Some yell and scream, some go quietly. Some explode, some implode. But all will try to take you.
What is it like for a vampire to implode?
well, we see it.
I mean, does he mean melt?
No, like kind of like crash into themselves, go concave. So mad at them for
Yeah,
So when I hear implode, I think of Sauron when he like or no the Witch King. I'm sorry, the Witch King at the end of Return of the King, where he like goes into himself like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like imploding and exploding, it's still sometimes you don't know which one just happened because imploding, like for example, fluorescent light bulbs. Technically, they implode when they break. They cross and they explode. So, but they're exploding, but they're actually imploding. Like they actually just go like that. Instead of going like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like when people say
For those
implode,
listening,
Yeah, I was
his
gonna say, that's
hands
good
were
radio.
making a gesture.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, yeah. So like they just go into each other, but it looks like they're popping out the side. It looks like they're exploding, but they're actually imploding.
Yeah, sure. All right. So the next one I have is 1950.
About tree fitty.
Did you give it to him about a week ago?
It was the Loch Ness Monster. All right. So here they come bursting in without being invited.
Lost their power.
I say we terminate them right now.
You're mine! You killed Marco!
Yeah, you're next.
You're next!
No, you're
really
next.
good dialogue. So
Garlic don't work, boys!
Try holy water, dead breath.
So that was good foresight. So did they think that garlic was going to work? And I guess just in this conception of the vampire lore, garlic just never works.
yeah, I mean, I think they were covering all bases, combining the garlic with the holy water.
Right.
Yeah.
You just need to hire a priest, and then you can have holy water running hot and cold.
That'd be nice if you had like an auto sanctifier or something like that.
Auto sanctification.
So like installed in your home, so the water coming out of your sink is holy. That'd be great.
It's kind of like having like a Culligan system, but for papal reasons.
Exactly.
And salt
and there'd be like a
rosary beads.
Have you ever just been tempted, like walking through a big throng of people, to do the Winchester test and just go Cristo and just see if anyone?
I think I have actually done that.
I don't get
think
this reference.
I think I've been there where you just say Cristo and just see if.
Yeah, just. But then what would you do?
Yeah, then you just say,
very
well, you just go,
entertained by it,
well,
though.
shit.
I'm happy for them. They're having a moment.
Oh, so in Supernatural, they determine that you can test who is really a demon by saying Cristo, Christ,
It's handy.
because it's part of the exorcism spell and also just the name Christ. And doing that, it makes the demon like go flinchy.
They show themselves by like showing their eyes.
Yeah.
It's the first thing. Like they want to have control. Like all of a sudden, like they just look at him.
They
and
lose
they Cristo, and also their eyes turn black, and it's just like, well, no, you're a demon.
Right.
But I've been tempted, like just walking through a large group of people, just to say it, just to I know nothing's gonna happen, but I also want to see if something happens.
I figured it was just
2020. If any year it's going to happen, it will happen then.
You just want to find other nerds in the crowd.
Well, or demons.
Or
but,
sure.
But at the same time.
But if you did find a demon, what would you do?
Panic, because that
you best start to learn that exorcism spell. I just got past one episode where Sam was trying to say the exorcism spell, and he was saying it, and when the demon like grabbed him by a shirt, he couldn't say it, so he reached into his phone and he hit his his phone. He turned it on, and he threw it across the room, and it was a voice recording of the exorcism spell.
Oh, that's nice.
And I was like, that was great. It took him till season 9 to do that.
That's pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Good doggy.
Oh,
that's right. Into the tube.
No, I'm not gonna lie. It looked like someone off camera threw the dog.
Well, I think they've done that twice now when he jumps into Michael and.
Oh yeah.
But it's a very good doggy.
Yeah, look at him.
But a lot of time, those dogs, to me, like animals on set, are usually they're treated great, and their trainers are their owners, and they're usually like
really protective.
Well, it's that, and it's the people that do this. It's a whole industry. I mean, like that dog's owner made buku bucks for that dog to be used in this movie.
That dog was also on Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and a different show where it was a wolf.
Oh, is that real?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Interesting.
I looked it up because I was curious about the dog.
Yeah. I mean, like it's like I've met a bunch of people who have had animals for movie and TV purposes, and they're just extreme animal lovers. And the thing is, you actually get yelled at more by the production than you are by the people. Like a dog will come on set and everybody's, don't even look at the damn dog. And then the people are like, no, this is Sammy. Sammy's really cool. Sammy loves pets. Sammy loves belly rubs. But meanwhile, the producers are like, what are you doing talking to that dog?
Well, I can kind of understand because they don't know what might set off a dog and like throw it off its thing. Like it has to perform.
So Ricky Gervais got in trouble for his Netflix show,
I cannot imagine that he's been cruel to any animal. He loves animals.
But he wants to. Yeah, Afterlife. He wanted to pet it and feed it and treat it like a friendly dog.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, they are a service dog. They're trained to be this way. And he was very bad at he kept calling her a good girl, and the praise words were only supposed to be used for specific things. He's like, but she's a good girl. Oh, this is a great line coming up.
He's just a deep sleeper.
You miss, sucker.
Sucker.
Once, pal.
All right, so we've got a vampire being destroyed by a radio.
That's right.
Well, the arrow helped.
Oh, well, that too.
Well, the gun helps.
So who's the imploder?
Oh, the one that went down the bathtub drain.
Oh, that was melting. Not so much imploding, I wouldn't say.
Death by stereo.
That was all. Just that. I love that line.
So the next one and last one I have is 132.
Oh, it's probably the same as mine. All the damn vampires.
Mm-hmm. That's the best line of the movie. And the fight scene's good because once again, like if you look at this, a lot of the stuff that they did, it's a lot of darkness. They were able to shoot this. I'm sure it was a lot of wire work, but they did it simply. You know, I mean, there's been so many movies that have tried to just CGI it up and just be like, look, there's these two guys flying around. And you're like, dude, just no. I mean, you can get the same effect if you just shoot it right, shoot it dark. It has to be dark anyway. You know.
No, I so much prefer to see effects like this than to see just nonsense CGI. Like even Marvel movies, like it gets to a point where like, okay, I'm just looking at some artists, or rather hundreds of artists doing like making things that don't exist bounce around and create sparks. I don't know.
And I really think the only one I don't think anybody can not defend is the end of Endgame, like that battle scene. That works.
Oh, no, that was
amazing. But then you think of like Civil War and you're just like, all right, it's too much.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like you're in the daylight and everything. It's movies like this. It's like they know they're a movie like this. They know they have to like have trickery
Yeah.
the camera.
Yeah. And so this is kind of off topic. Well, not off topic, but a tangent from the movie. But all Marvel movies until about Guardians of the Galaxy and after Iron Man 1, in that kind of window of Marvel movies, all the color grading is very gray looking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's very odd. Iron Man 1 was colorful. Guardians is very colorful, but all the other Marvel movies are very gray, and it's kind of
trying to live in. And to me, that was a visual choice because they were still like, this is grounded in reality, and then it was just like, no, you're a comic book movie.
Yeah,
let's get some color in there because that's what people want to see. They don't want to see Zack Snyder, washboard crap of cinematography.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was a conscious decision to not make it colorful, but there was also I watched a video on this. It was a switch from film.
Yep.
To not the red cameras, but what's the other one?
The Ari Alexa.
Yeah. It was that one. Yeah. And so it gives you an image that's very gray looking.
Oh yeah,
because it's got a lot of information and a lot of picture information in it. Yeah. So you can do what you want with it. You can make it as colorful as you want. Yeah. And they just didn't.
So will we ever see a yellow suited Wolverine?
I think so.
You have hope?
Actually, I really do. I really do because Marvel's been able to do the whole thing where they're just like, like we're gonna make you have a comic accurate costume.
But
I think it depends on the tone of the movie. So as I guess if they reinvent the X-Men,
they will. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
I mean, will it be bright yellow? No. But it'll look like similar to what that deleted scene in the Wolverine was, where you saw his suit that the girl gave him, where you actually see the helmet and everything, and it was this kind of dark yellow and black.
The Wolverine with Ryan Reynolds as the...
No, that's the second movie. So the first one's called X-Men Origins Wolverine. Right, then there's the Wolverine, and then there's Logan.
Yeah.
The Wolverine there was also he was in Japan.
Oh, okay.
So, at the very end of that, in a deleted scene, he gets the suit. She gives him he opens up a briefcase when he's on the plane, and it's the Wolverine helmet with the gloves with the little where his claws come out.
Right.
And you're just like, cool. That's what you'll see. You'll see a darker version of the yellow.
But that was all still Fox. Is Fox the one that owned X-Men?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. But that's the thing. I mean, there's precedent.
Yeah.
So. I would love another Lady Deathstrike.
Yeah.
What's the deal with Spider-Man? Who owns him anymore?
It's still Sony.
Because I thought that they had done some sort of deal where he could also appear in real Marvel movies.
They did, yeah. But
it's still really owned by Sony.
Yeah, Sony owns the rights for Spider-Man movies. Marvel and Disney still own Spider-Man, obviously, in the comic books and things like that.
And video games, it must be Sony because it's a PS4 exclusive and 5 exclusive.
Yeah. But they know a rising tide floats all boats, so it's like, why not have Spider-Man in the universe? Because it's only helping you. I mean,
well, why didn't they do that for X-Men?
This is before, really. The X-Men had these Marvel movies come out 10 years before.
But in Civil War, they didn't have any of the X-Men when they had Spider-Man.
Well, because Fox was still holding on to like, no, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And then
fools.
By that time, it was too late. And now it's a whole new world now. So now they can slowly bring them in because they were bought by Disney.
Yeah.
We are tangenting pretty far, though, from the Lost Boys.
Sure. Okay, so we're at...
The end.
The end.
The end. All right, let's get the line that everyone came for.
Dad? Make the noise.
Do the thing.
Dad, are you all right?
One thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires.
He said it. Whoops.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women sing wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are
thank you very much for listening to Rose Tinted Reels with Zach and Allyson and guest host Christopher Bartlett. This has been a fun evening of fun vampires and sexy kids. No, all right. So this is
we still have Act 4 and 5.
I was like, what?
Yep, that's the movie for you. So all right, Allyson, Chris.
Yes.
Was it as good as you remember?
Of course.
Yes. I watch this yearly for the Halloween season. So.
Yeah,
You know,
I
I'm
literally have that in my notes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it part of my rotation also.
Yay! So I guess spoiler alert.
Yeah,
you liked it.
Well, I didn't hate it anyway.
Well, he's watching it for the sax man.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that sax man. What's his name again? Tim Capello. Tim Capello.
I'm telling you, if once all this pandemic goes away and he comes back we got to go to Ram's Head.
I will see him, and he better be shirtless.
I've seen recent photos.
Where's your
performing.
leggings?
You said he's still a bit shredded up.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a recent photo of him because like when those tickets went on sale and Timmy and I were talking about it, I was like, well, let me take a look.
I just he has just an amazing body, tan as anything. The hair was slicked back. He had the chains on him.
And that's that
the
SoCal,
whole look.
man. That's that SoCal.
Oh, that was awesome.
SoCal keep you cut and young.
He got me in the heart. With that performance.
The feels.
So, all right. So, did your perspective change on anything in this movie over the years?
Well,
from first seeing it to now. Oh, this is a picture of him now.
Was that the recent photo of him? There you go. Yeah, he just looks older.
Yeah,
but he still looks. He's got some guns.
And he's still got the chain on him and everything.
Still got the hair.
Good
and
for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So I will say that So my perspective changed. I think it was the one we were talking about earlier. You know, the whole idea about like the Lost Boys meaning something more than just a Peter Pan reference.
And that was an interesting perspective. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, but other than that, no. I mean, I think it's pretty much all the. It still feels the same way. Yeah. See, there he is. Look at that man. See?
What a man. How old is he now?
He's probably in his he's probably in his early 30s, maybe late 20s, early 30s, and that was what, like 30 years ago. So he could be pushing 60.
65.
65. Still looking that good.
Good for him. Good for him.
And he was going to be at Rams Head in Annapolis.
Yeah.
So yeah. So other than looking at it like that, because I've seen it so many times. And knowing Joel Schumacher, like I've known from some of his other movies, he does like to throw in little things like, it's not just a straight vampire movie. Like you watch Fright Night, straight up, vampire movie. If you were a fan of like the old Ghost Host Theater and stuff like that, it's for you because it's because of the Peter Vincent's character in Fright Night is all about the ghost host theaters. People who grew up in that era.
Yeah.
This is straight up like it's a vampire movie, but there's more to it. The whole thing about like family. You've got two families kind of warring, and the one family wants to bring in the other family to make one big family.
Yeah.
So there are little things in there that Joel Schumacher did. That's why I always say this is his like quintessential film.
So something interesting that I just learned about Mr. Capello is that he actually was a struggling heroin addict and quit the drug cold turkey in 1979 and began bodybuilding, and that's where he got his iconic look from.
Nice.
Because that's what a lot of like recovering people say. They said you got to turn one addiction into another one.
Yeah,
and for him,
sure.
it was probably bodybuilding, and that's what Robert Downey Jr. did. He turned his drug addiction and alcohol addiction into like yoga and working out and exercise and eating right.
I was going to say he quit drugs because he had a really bad cheeseburger from Burger King. We found out. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if that's the same for little Tim Capella.
Could have been. I mean,
that'd be such a thing for Burger King to have two people get off drugs because their food was so bad.
Yeah. Like that's because you do that a lot where you say, "Man, I'm never getting drunk again because I barfed up the Denny's I had at 3 a.m." But then you go back and you do it.
Right.
But that's not as serious as like a heroin addiction. So.
Sure. Oh man. Well, good for him. Just really good for him. All right. So, what do you think? Did it contribute anything to cinema?
I think it's entertaining, but I don't know that it on a huge franchise contributed much. Like it's not like a groundbreaking where they did something completely new and different.
Yeah, if it had been the first sexy teen vampire movie, then I would have said yeah. But you guys were given examples of earlier ones?
It's not the first one to kind of market the idea that a teenager would make an adequate vampire.
What about barrel fires? Did it have more barrel fires than any other?
Probably, other than like the Running Man. There's barrel fires everywhere. But I'll say what it did. I think it would what it did accomplish for cinema is the rut that I think, along with like Silverado in the 80s, did for Westerns. This can be said, I think, that what it did for like the horror genre where, you had a long line of horror films, starting in Universal movie monsters, going through Hammer, going to all like the Europe, like the spaghetti horror films. A lot of people think of spaghetti westerns, but they don't realize that there was Dario Argento and the Italian filmmakers were making so many horror movies in the 70s. It was ridiculous. And they were all of a certain type. When you get into the 80s, you have this like glam fest of horror films. And I think what Lost Boys did, I think if you don't have Lost Boys, I mean, you've already said that, it inspired Joss Whedon, but I don't think you have a Twilight. Like, I don't think you have Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because vampires up until this point were like, okay, you had sexy vampire Chris Sarandon, but he was basically he was Dracula. I mean, even though he wasn't Dracula, he was Jerry Dandridge. He was Dracula. So, and then you...
So attractive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you didn't really have this until the end of this movie where you see the main guy who's this movie's Dracula, quote unquote. You were like, oh, well, vampires we can live forever. And it was kind of romanticizing it that you can always be a kid. You can always stay young, things like that. That's why I think what Lost Boys does to you don't have, like, vampires can be almost unchained now. You don't need like that one guy. Like Fright Night, we were like one guy. Turning vampires or just killing. But this, you're just like, well, anybody can be a vampire. And if anybody can be a vampire, I can be just as cool as them. Oh, that's cool. I mean, this is, yeah.
Okay, so it seems like what you're saying then is this is the first movie that made it feel more relatable to be a vampire, especially as a young person.
Yeah. I mean, if people... Like, I wasn't of the age when this movie came out to be like, I saw it when it came on VHS, like after it was in the theaters. So I saw it like a year later. I was like 10. And it was like cool. You mean I can dress and act like these bands that I'm watching on MTV. Cool. I can live forever. I can fly.
I can pull off an earring like that.
I could pull off an earring like that. Yeah. At the time I had long hair, so I was kind of like, man, I can do this stuff. So
and meanwhile, cool. Mom and Ann come in. No, you can't.
No, you can't. No, not absolutely not. But yeah, I mean, it's like before this, like there was really no, it's cool,
Yeah.
It seemed like it was for adults, and now you've got it's like you can be young forever, not just you can live forever. You can be young forever. You can be
forever young.
Forever.
You want to be
forever young. Yeah. Rod Stewart.
Who is not forever young.
Poor fella.
I enjoy Rod Stewart.
All right. So, Allyson, thoughts?
I appreciate Chris's perspective, and I think that has adjusted what I said. But like as far as like a new directional, adding something new in the cinematic world, I like the concept of it adding a new obtainable status of vampire. But as far from a directorial and visual standpoint, I don't think they captured anything groundbreaking, but the story element I will concede to.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, now it's time for the Rose Award ceremony.
So we do a Rose, who is the carrier of the story, and the Thorn, who is what brings the things down.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think the Thorn is not so much who was the villain of the piece, because that would usually be too easy to say. Like, well, he was obviously the villain.
Yeah. So he's bringing my buzz down.
Yeah. So I think of the Thorn more as like he was maybe one of the good guys, but he just messed up a lot, and he was just he was preventing things from happening, or just screwing things up for the main character or whatever.
Example, like when we did Rocky Horror Picture Show. We said Barry Bostwick was too vanilla to be the Thorn.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we both said that Frankenfurter was the Rose and the Thorn.
Yeah.
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 That makes complete sense. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So I was gonna say that the rose, my rose would go to the grandpa because he kills them at the end, but then at the same time he didn't warn them that they were here, and he should have. So I'm taking that back. So I need to think. I need to think on it. So Chris, go ahead and give us your rose.
My rose?
If you want to think about it, I can share mine.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My rose is to Nanook the dog, the best damn horror movie dog possibly ever.
Absolutely. She prevents Sam from being killed at one point.
She took out more vampires than anyone else.
Is that true?
I mean, she took out, she protected against the one, and then she took out the other by knocking them into the garlic water.
Right.
So I guess I
Garlic
shouldn't say
water.
killed the vampire, but she...
Well, she got that one, and she prevented Sam from being killed at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And what about Frogman, Corey Feldman?
Mm-hmm.
He killed one in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Did he kill one in the house?
No.
And how many?
He tried to.
How many did Michael kill?
One.
He got David.
Mm-hmm.
Who killed the others?
The other Corey, the brother, Sam, killed Death by Stereo.
That's right.
Death by
And
stereo.
that's all.
What about Max?
Max was killed by Grandpa.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm giving it to Nanook.
Yeah.
I think you're right about that.
And my thorn goes to little vampire Eddie Munster. Why would anyone even turn him?
Yeah. Like, so what? I mean, like I guess we.
That's a
hadn't
good question. I'd like the story on that.
Like I guess we hadn't seen Kirsten Dunst become a prepubescent vampire yet, so I guess we,
Or the
What was she,
baby
a vampire?
vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
What was
Interview
Kirsten
with the
Dunst?
Vampire.
Yeah,
That was Kirsten Dunst was in that
Mhm.
interview with it. Was that Quentin Tarantino's movie?
No.
Neil Jordan.
Oh no, that was
Brad Pitt
Tom
and
Tom Cruise.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And Brad Pitt.
Played
Yeah.
Lestat.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
I love that movie and I haven't watched it in so long. And Christian Slater.
Yeah, Christian Slater.
Yeah.
And Antonio Banderas.
That was actually one of the first. I think it was one of the first movies I ever saw him in.
So, did you say what your rose was, Chris?
Yeah, you going for Nanook the dog, huh?
Yeah.
I think my rose would have to go with good old Grandpa. I know you say no because of letting him live there, but I really think he's of that generation that just like, that vampires are fine. Look, I guess my grandson's becoming one. I don't care. It's fine.
He's Yiddish.
He's Yiddish. He's a guy.
He's verschnicken the vampire.
I've gewalt. I'm telling you. This is I'm verklempt. But just because he utters the best line in the movie.
True.
He obviously knows all this stuff's going on. I really think he's a straight up, like he.
You think he's a hunter?
He taught the Campbell and Winchester families everything they know. Now he's just living in Santa Carla and he's just chilling on his retirement. He doesn't care.
This is canon now.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Exactly.
most interesting thing about this man was off screen.
Exactly. He's got this same tattoo that I have right here. That keeps the demons out.
Yeah.
The demon one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like this is just the center of this film. He's the heart and soul of this film.
All right, fair enough. And so, who would you give your thorn to?
The thorn to I would have to go with Eddie Munster.
Eddie Munster?
Because just a scene where when he's turning, he's like,
Well, you can't blame him. He's a little fella.
I know, but then he's like, "Nyeh." Any kid in a horror movie,
You think he says?
any kid in a horror movie is usually annoying, and he's not Babadook annoying, but he's close.
He's not Lucy from Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe.
Annoying, yeah. He's close though.
There was another kid vampire. Oh God, I'm gonna forget the name of the movie. This one, it was like a pack of vampires again, but there was a kid vampire in that was like high up in the ranks of the group.
All I can think of kids that are annoying in horror movies are Malachi from Children of the Corn.
The main child who was like speaking.
Outlander? Yeah, Malachi, the one that sounded like this.
Yeah.
And the one that becomes a demon at the end.
Well, that sounded like. Did I do that? Urkel.
Or Leslie Jordan.
Well, I don't know. I think my thorn is gonna have to go to Sam.
Really?
Hear me out. Because if Sam didn't call out Michael to his little vampire frog buddies, then Michael would have become a vampire.
Yep.
Probably would have made his first kill.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, they would have lived happily ever after.
As vampires.
Yeah.
In a cave.
And never died. How cool would that be?
Near Dark was what I was thinking.
Oh, I haven't seen Near Dark in forever, but I know it. Yeah, it's Bill Paxton, Lance Henriksen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was that little kid in there that
I forgot all about that, actually. That's actually a movie I should watch this
he's
year.
obnoxious.
Okay.
I hate that kid.
That's a movie I should watch again this year. I haven't watched that in
one
years.
that you probably have seen. But,
yeah. Near Dark's one of those ones that you got to go deep
You have
in the
to
weeds.
look for it. Yeah.
I mean,
This kid.
it's a cult film, but
he was the kid who was in Teen Witch, and I hated him in Teen Witch too.
I think
not
I remember him.
the sequel, but Teen Witch also.
Oh, okay.
So, anyway, I think that, and then Michael, I think, would have he would have turned Sam into a vampire.
Mm-hmm. Well, it had to, and then the mom and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and then and then she would have been the den mother to all these guys.
She would have been the Wendy in this Peter Pan analogy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of the perfect scenario. They never die. So I think it's all Sam's fault that it didn't happen.
Well, he can't carry the vampire, but he can carry you.
I mean, honestly, and the main vampire, Max, seemed like a stand-up dude.
What?
Seemed like a real nice guy.
Yeah, we didn't see him just willy-nilly kill.
I mean, he's a father figure.
Yeah.
He
honestly seemed like, for a vampire, he seemed like a decent...
When he's like holding... he's like holding like Sam here, and he's just like, he's just like holding out his hand, like, come on, take my hand. I'm like, man, that's a pathetic looking, please.
It's a desperate move. Yeah.
Desperate vampire right there.
Well,
desperation breeds desperation.
Indeed so. But that's my thought on that. So let's go on to the ratings. So for the genre ratings, I had 80s-ness and scariness as my two subcategories.
80s-ness?
80s-ness.
80s-ness.
Oh gosh. So I said comedy horror again.
Okay.
Yeah. So I gave it.
I didn't get any comedy though. There wasn't a whole lot of comedy.
Well, there's a couple one-liners in there that were pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's actually like if you Google search it, it says horror comedy.
Yeah. I don't know. I just did
because it wasn't scary to me.
It definitely wasn't scary. I've rated it a 1 for scares, but also it wasn't funny. So I don't see how it was a horror comedy.
I mean, but there's like lines. I mean, it's funny in the way 80s movies were funny. Technically, like Dream Warriors that came out the same year, horror film. But there are some classic freaking. I mean, come on, it's like this is your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch. I mean, it's straight up. You're like that was funny,
right?
But it's a horror film, and that's how the 80s like horror films were. I mean, watch Night of the Demons. Night of the Demons is just straight up cheese ridiculousness.
Yeah. Well, that's how I found Waxwork. Like Waxwork was retrospectively, it's funny because it's so just kind of dumb.
But there wasn't anything outright horrible about it.
Yeah. And I don't think it's possible that they wrote it in some places to be funny, but I think more often than not it was funny just because it was poorly made.
No, I think they knew that they were making something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those 80s low budget
films.
Because like, once again, like go back to Night of the Demons, it is a really low budget film.
The lipstick and the boob thing,
because the boobs
are you talking about
look real.
Breakfast Club?
It's so weird.
Lipstick in the boobs?
No, in Night of the Demons, someone inserts a lipstick into a breast.
You know what bugs me the most about that scene?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
okay. I still don't understand it. I've seen the movie.
You know what bugs me the most about that scene? It's when she's like doing this thing where she's becoming a demon and she's like putting the lipstick on her skin. When lipstick goes on skin, it goes on a certain way. You're like, oh, that's lipstick going on a skin.
Yeah.
But when they put the fake
prosthetic,
and it's just this rubbery skin,
yeah.
the way the lipstick's barely showing up, and I was like, you guys couldn't have done anything else latex wise to make that
right
look
or like show her painting it on and then flash away for a minute and then put like a pre-painted prosthetic.
Well, what year was this?
Oh gosh, 80.
Okay, so late enough where they had options.
86. Oh yeah. And it was but that was the thing. It was just bad. Somebody was like, "I'm gonna make some fake boobs so we can put a lipstick in."
Well, also like the strobe light dance scene, like that didn't.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was just weird. But that was Linnea Quigley. She just wanted to get naked in every movie she was in.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
But anyway, it didn't feel like a comedy to me, this Lost Boys movie.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a coming-of-age movie. So, I mean, I didn't think there were any laughs, really. The last line where the grandpa says I thought that was funny.
Death by Stereo, the Frog Brothers just being so over the top, little things like that where it's
that's fair enough. And that's another thing. That's another example of where I couldn't tell if they intended it to be funny or if it just happened to be funny because it was kind of goofy and they didn't mean it to be.
Let's see, I think that was the 80s. Like I think that like going back to that's the 80s.
So even when it first came out, people thought that was funny and
because people were like that was the cheeseballness of 80s horror. I mean, it was hard to watch like a straight.
Right, fair enough.
You would never see Insidious in the 80s.
Yeah,
like that's the thing.
Yeah,
or The Conjuring
because it takes itself too seriously.
Yeah, and
Conjuring is also on Zach's list.
I haven't seen the first. I've seen the second one though.
I enjoyed the second one more. I think I was scared more in the second one, but the first one still is really good.
How many are there?
It's just 2. The third one's coming out.
And then there's the Annabelles which are part and La Llorona.
That wasn't that good.
Well, but it's still that universe.
Annabelle 2 is so much better than the first one. In fact, I would say don't even watch Annabelle 1, watch Annabelle 2.
But there's things that you need to know about
Could I watch a YouTube recap?
Yes. I mean, I've barely seen the first Annabelle. I've probably seen 5 minutes of it, and I was fine.
Well, really, the best Annabelle was the first 5 minutes of the Conjuring one.
Okay, yeah.
So my rating was a 6 out of 10.
So you gave it a horror comedy score of 6 out of 10?
Mm-hmm. Directing, I gave a 7 out of 10,
Well,
even though it's a Schumacher.
So my other rating of 80s-ness, I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Perfectly 80s.
I couldn't imagine a more 80s movie.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it's late 80s because the 80s had different times. You know, like I mean, there was different cheesiness, and this was late 80s cheesy because of the whole like
It's
LA.
Velveeta.
Yeah, it's just straight up like of this late 80s Southern California glam rock scene.
Yeah. All right. So for directing, you gave it
7.
7?
I thought they did a good job.
I gave it a 5.5.
Well,
Really?
I think directing, he captured what he intended to for the film. Like it was his vision, and he brought it to life in the way that he wanted to.
Yeah, that's fair. So mine came from a place of an overall, like looking at all movies and saying, all right, 10 is the best directed movie ever, and so 5.5 I don't think is a bad score in that scheme of things.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So I thought it was a really well directed movie, but
It's not, as you would always argue, Citizen Kane or Lawrence
it's not Godfather.
Yeah.
It's not, or as Scarface, as present company would say.
Oh, I mean, like Scarface is my end all beat all.
What would you say is the best directed movie besides 2001?
Jesus Christ. Best directed movie.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, I don't know because there's so many that are so good.
Well, maybe not best, but just something that's top tier for you.
Top tier. I mean, best directed. I mean, I would go Citizen Kane. I mean, the movie is not actually that good,
right?
But what he did directing and creating cinema in that film is where, I mean, and that's the thing. And since he directed it, it was his baby.
Yeah.
That I would say that probably is the best directed film because of what he created for modern cinema. You don't have modern cinema without Citizen Kane.
So in my scheme of things, my scale, that would be your 10.
Mm-hmm.
And so where do you think directing wise this movie would fall into that scale? Having that as a 10?
Yeah.
So where would this fall?
So my directing was I was a 7 out of 10 too, and I think because that's taking the genre, taking the time period, and taking what Joel Schumacher has done, around this and what he would do after this. I still think this is one of his quintessential films. I mean, Time to Kill is probably his best. But yeah, I mean, like directing wise, for the time, for what it was well done. Like
absolutely,
it could have gone completely off the rails.
Yeah,
and it could have been a Night of the Demons. I mean, it's easy. It's a teenage vampire movie if you boil it down. But it didn't. It didn't go off the rails, and it actually made you feel something. And it made me years later feel like, well, wait a minute, what if this is also about the way I was talking about earlier, like people just getting lost in Southern California.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So what do you give it for writing?
I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 based on our conversations earlier. I actually lowered my score because there's a lot of things that I accepted based on my own knowledge of vampires and their lore and what I projected onto the film, which isn't actually clarified at any point. So I lowered it to a 5 out of 10 for vampire loopholes and lore.
I also gave it a 5. What would you say writing wise?
I'd say 5, and I think as well because it's to me 50-50. It's because this is almost like cut and paste dialogue. Literally, you could just sit there and you'd be sitting around, drinking with your buddies and write this dialogue. There's nothing really Shakespearean about it. That's why I think 5.
Well, at least it wasn't written in 3 days like Waxwork was.
Yeah, that's.
Did you? That was literally written in 3 days.
No, I mean it doesn't shock me.
Yeah,
it doesn't shock me because knowing how horror films are the most independent film produced genre. It's because it's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy to write a horror film,
and it's inexpensive usually to.
Yeah. It's so easy to write and get a bunch of group of friends together. 9 times out of 10, if you talk to a bunch of teenagers and they're making a film, what are you making? A horror film, because they're not going to say a romantic comedy or an action film because it's got car chases. They're going to be like, we're going to make a horror film about kids in a house getting murdered. It's like, okay,
yeah, but I feel like a romantic comedy would be just as easy to make, less makeup.
True, but there's nothing exciting about it.
There's nothing exciting about it.
It's not at all.
All right, so acting. What do you think?
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10?
Mm-hmm.
Almost 7.
7 out of 10?
Yeah.
I gave it a 5.5, which again, by my scale, is so it's
respectable. He's the tough Russian judge.
Nah.
No. I mean, but again, I'm putting it.
If you had done a triple back salt instead of a quadruple, you would have had more time.
Well, but you have to take in like genius performances on the same scale as this. That's what I'm trying to do.
But see, what I do is I look at it as like, okay, boom, this genre. I'm looking at this genre as a whole. Like, I'm not even going to compare this to like, say, I don't know, well, Godfather. It's a totally different animal.
Right.
That's why I hate when people are like, well, I don't like the Marvel movies because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you just compared the Marvel movies to Hitchcock. Or Scorsese. I've seen people do that. And I'm just like, because Scorsese talked out about it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, you can't compare them. They're two totally different things.
And I wouldn't. Like the acting for those movies is perfect for those movies.
Yeah, exactly.
And I enjoy them and just like I enjoyed it for this movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was the perfect acting. I thought they did a really good job.
Yep.
But for this scale, just what I happen to be doing, and you don't have to do the same.
Oh no, I was just saying, like for me, like I could also look at the acting and say The Godfather and say, well, maybe it was a 6. And people are like, you just said that the acting in The Godfather is worse than Lost Boys. I'm like, no,
exactly.
That's not what I'm saying.
And I'm trying to put it all on one spectrum, but I know that's a tough thing to do, especially for genre movies.
But that's what you want to do. So that's good. I mean, because like you know what you're talking about and you know what you're saying. And
I at least try to make it clear to the audience that that's kind of what I'm after. Anyway, so as an overall critical rating, your real rating, what would you give it?
I lowered my original score to a 6.5.
Okay. So what would you give it?
8.
As a critical score?
8 out of 10, yeah.
All right.
Like if I was doing this, if I was giving it a rating, my ratings usually were like letter ratings when I used to do movie reviews, and I would give it like a B+.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's once again, in that genre, in that time.
Yeah. So I gave it overall 5.5, but that's my critical score.
Mm-hmm.
So my heart score is something different. What was your heart score?
My heart score was still a 7.
Still 7? And heart score for you?
It's probably about the same. It's probably still an 8.
Well, my heart score is an 8.
No.
Aww.
I really liked it.
Yay.
I'm going to watch it every season. I'll probably watch it again before this season's out.
Yeah, no, because it's definitely worthwhile. And with it starting tomorrow, AMC's got the Fright Fest, and I think it's on Fright Fest
mean
this year.
starting
today?
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but it's actually on AMC's Fright Fest.
I'm going to be so cranky tomorrow.
At least Mark will have to deal with that.
I was going to say, I'll be fine.
I'm going to text you all.
That's
bitter
fine.
words.
I'm grumpy.
I'll just crawl out of bed and go to the studio for a little bit.
But this movie made me love dumpster fires or barrel fires.
Barrel fires.
We're living in a dumpster fire.
We're living in a dumpster fire. Yes. Shouldn't love that.
And it made me love shirtless sax men.
I'm telling you.
And genuinely, I am not being ironic about that. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's probably one of the higher scores you've given.
A 5.5?
No, for your personal.
Oh, for my heart rating?
Heart rating.
Sleuth was up there.
Sleuth has to be up there.
Yeah.
Sleuth is definitely up there.
That's a good one.
I mean,
Breakfast
that was before
Club
we did a personal rating.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to go back and give things personal ratings that we didn't before.
Yeah, I think we should. Because I think Breakfast Club would be up there. Maybe a 7. Maybe an 8, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Breakfast Club so many times.
I've only seen it twice.
I'm a little burned out by it. And I don't understand the obsession with it that people have. Namely, some person we know who lives in Virginia that always talks about the Breakfast Club and has to go see it in the movie theater.
Actually, I've seen him post about it.
I was like,
I don't understand why he's so obsessed with it. I'm just like, really? Because it's okay.
Has he listened to our episode? He should have.
He better have.
Yeah.
Let's reach out to him on the socials.
The only Kevin Smith.
Yeah. The real.
All right. So in our final act, what is our next movie going to be?
It is Scream.
All right. So let's pull up a trailer for it and let the audience know what it's all about.
While he loads that, I would like to thank our music creative mind, Mr. Julian Crowhurst, previously of Barnes & Noble fame.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in forever.
So thank you, Julian, for creating our theme music at the Rose Tinted Reels.
All right, so here is the official trailer for Scream, 1996.
Hello?
Hello.
Who is this?
Tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
I don't think so.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
She's giving him so much information.
Scary movie.
Yeah, I know.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
You never told me your name.
Why do you
Do you hear that Nightmare on Elm Street music in the background? That was just Nightmare on Elm Street music. Because, it's a Wes Craven.
Playing a deadly game.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
I didn't know that this was Wes Craven.
Oh, yeah, this was Wes Craven.
Someone who's seen one too many scary
Kevin Williamson,
movies.
actually.
Now he's taken his love of fear
Hello?
Hello, Sydney.
one step.
And this is
too
that
far.
90s movie voice guy who did everything.
Yeah.
Including Mojo Jojo.
Holy Moses!
Running up the stairs when she should be
What?
going out the front door. It's insulting.
There are certain rules.
Go back,
Same,
please.
some stupid
The
killer
green.
stalking some
Look at
girl
those.
who's
Oh, yeah.
she's always running up
Yep.
the stairs when she should be
Jesus.
going out the front door. It's insulting.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a scary movie. Number
You
one,
never say
you can never have sex. Never.
It's actually fitting you guys are doing this. They're doing the fifth one.
I'll be right back. Because you won't be back. Get another beer. You want one? Yeah, sure. I'll be right back.
Isn't he the bad guy?
I'm not going to tell you.
If you haven't watched it yet,
I saw it when I was this big.
that doesn't
He said
count.
he saw the ending when he was 10.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I've seen all of it. Maybe. I don't remember.
Remember then.
Director Wes Craven.
This is a movie where like the sequel's just as good.
Isn't the sequel?
That's not always. You gave nothing away, but that could be a good or a bad thing.
Doesn't
the
the
sequel's just as good as the first one,
Oh,
which was trash.
Garbage.
Wasn't
No,
the sequel on a like a film set?
No, the sequel was in college. The third one was
Yeah, I
on
think
the
that's
film.
when they're making the
Yeah.
movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then the
that's right.
fourth one has very young Emma Roberts in it.
I just finally watched that for the first time. I think maybe it was last Halloween or maybe it was this spring.
I liked the opening a whole lot.
Yeah,
where it was
yeah,
the
it was
opening within an opening within an opening
Yeah,
within an
so
opening.
I thought it was good. I mean, like it was. I mean, overall the movie was good. This was good. Yeah, Wes Craven and like that music in the background. There was some. It was the opening to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right. Yeah.
So I was kind of like, wow, okay, that's interesting. I'd never actually paid attention to that, but that being the original trailer.
So, Allison, do you remember what your nostalgia rating is for this?
7.
Christopher, what would you give Scream as a nostalgia rating out of 10?
Nostalgia out of 10? I'd say probably 6.
6? So you're
6.
going lower than Allison?
Yeah, because it's for me over the years, like the rewatch value isn't as high
okay.
anymore as much. It's like not, yeah, because like once you kind of know it, for me,
Once you
kinda
know that guy was the bad guy?
well, it's not just that, but it's also
I think he just confirmed.
Would you stop trying
it's
to
not just-
ruin it for yourself?
Okay.
It's not just it's like I don't put that on my list of movies to rewatch every year.
I
mean,
got you.
if it's on, I'll watch it. I'll put it on the background.
Yeah.
But I'm not going, boom, let me watch it. We're watching Scream tonight or Scream 2 or
Versus-
Scream
I
3.
got you. Yeah.
Lost Boys, where it's you
Yes.
actively seek it.
And like Fright Night. Like I've already watched Fright Night twice this season.
Right. Night.
I haven't watched that this season. I need to watch it.
Yeah.
I like
I
that
was
movie.
about to say, I know you've watched it. I've made you watch it.
No, I like that movie a lot. Have I seen the newer one, though? With-
The newer one you don't need to see except for David Tennant.
yeah, I was going to say, isn't Tennant in it?
But it actually is good.
Yeah?
Like, they did a good job with it.
But like nowhere near as good as the original?
No,
like, not-
no.
No, the
But
original is just so good.
if the original doesn't exist, this movie's actually pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually a fair assessment. I've never heard anyone
Yeah.
describe it that way.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, that's interesting.
I've done that with like I did that with RoboCop. I was like, if RoboCop 87 didn't exist, this movie still fucking sucks.
Poor RoboCop.
Yeah.
Was Hugh Laurie in that movie? I think he was supposed to at least be for a while. He might have.
No, I think he was because like Hugh Laurie, like Michael Keaton was in it. I think Samuel L. Jackson is in it. And you're just
Well, he's
like,
in everything.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, actors,
Okay, actors.
stop
call.
it.
Man, it's like the Expendables. There's just like 50 million stars in that movie. It's ridiculous.
I've never seen The Expendables.
I saw the first one. Well, I should say I saw half of it in the theater. I fell asleep.
Yeah, it's fine. It's nostalgia. It's fine.
But Cordelia's in it, correct?
Yes, in the first one. I think she shows up. Does she show up in the second one? I can't remember. Yeah, she's Jason Statham's girlfriend.
Oh, all right.
Good
well,
for Jason Statham.
Very good for him. I mean, his career fell apart when he did Meg, but
He didn't punch
can't
that
recover
shark.
from that.
I don't know. I mean, no, it hasn't fallen apart since he did Meg, because now he's part of the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah, I know.
He's perfectly all right.
He's doing okay. But
And he's married
the best,
to a Victoria's Secret model too, apparently.
What's the best? Ooh, I didn't know that. Yeah. What's the best Jason Statham? I'm trying to end this, but I have more questions.
Snatch.
Snatch
is the best Jason Statham movie.
What? What about Crank? Crank was his baby.
Crank. I like the first Transporter better than Crank.
I like
First
the
Transporter
first
was pretty good.
Transporter.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
He was like the white Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He fought on the oil slick using like the bike pedals. That was pretty sweet.
Made me want to cook some guys some Madeline cookies.
But wait, you didn't like Crank?
I don't know. I mean, Crank was okay.
See, that's like an early 2000s genre movie.
Yeah.
That I loved.
Yeah, it was okay.
Like I knew exactly what it was, totally over the top, and it was reveling in that the whole movie, and I thought it was lovely.
It's 12:30, guys. Come on.
All right, so that's been this episode of Rose Tinted Reels.
Hour and I'm fine. No, I'm
you can sleep here if you need to.
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm wide awake.
All right.
I usually don't go to bed till 2 anyway.
Well, actually, I don't either.
Yeah. I just why?
Yeah. All right, so that's been this episode of Rose Tinted Reels. Catch us next time for some Scream action. I've been your co-host, Zachary Duncan, and my other co-host,
Allyson Krause, and our guest.
let's thank Christopher Bartlett.
Ah, that's right. That's my secret name.
And
Christopher Darkness.
Plug your podcast again for all the listeners.
I was going to say, check us out there. To create confusion, we're out there where some podcasts are being found. I don't know. I guess it's SoundCloud. To create confusion, you can hear us ramble about random things, and then we talk about a movie.
Lovely. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Hey everyone. All right, so this is a little bit of bonus content. I'd like to readdress the issue of the loss of power when you invite a vampire in. So Chris and Allyson aren't here to defend themselves, so that's why I feel a little bit bad. But I'm just going to throw this out there, and if they hear it, they can respond to me. So the framing of it is Michael invites Max inside, and Max sired the Lost Boys. So anybody that he sired also has the power or invitation to come inside. Also, apparently, the explanation for why the Frog Brothers throwing holy water in Max's face doesn't affect him, because there's been a loss of power for the house in general. So when he invited Max in, not only can Max come in and is unaffected by holy water and other methods of hurting vampires, those status changes also took effect for the Lost Boys. So that's why the Lost Boys are able to enter the house at the end of the movie without being invited. But for some reason, the Lost Boys are affected by holy water. So there just seems to be an imbalance of this loss of power. So they were able to come in, but they are still affected by holy water, even though that other same vampire was unaffected by holy water. I don't know. It just seems to be inconsistent. It seems to be a hole in the logic, which is it's not a crime against humanity. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, and I suggest you don't either. But I think it is. I think we can all admit that it is a hole in the logic of this movie. Brilliant though it was. So that's all I have for you. I'm off my soapbox. You can go back to having a really pleasant day. Listen to another one of these podcasts or another one. I don't know if you're working. Maybe you're just puttering around the house. Maybe you're trying to get to sleep. Does the sound of my voice help you get to sleep? I should hope not. I mean, I hope I'm more interesting than that, but maybe I'm fooling myself. Anyway, you can get back to doing whatever you're doing. Bye.